Mirrors on the wall, staring back at me. Stranger in the hall, frozen by the scene. Portraits seem to fade, he lost his centerpiece. Can't recall his face, I hope he'll rest in peace. Haunted by my mind, victim or the prey. Everything is fine, take me to my grave. Bury me alive, keeping me astray. Hard to say goodbye to who I am today. Everything is fine, take me to my grave.
Welcome to the Alexi.
Lights flashing bright, players take the stage.
W out of this, and then he can eat the root. I think he's okay. And Shyvana holds down. Sejuani's coming down. Vex is very late here, so watch out for that. Sejuani tanking for 10 years. No damage coming up now, and the MF ult is beautiful. Gets absolutely everyone. Vex ult gets a reset as well. There's only 3 members surviving, 4 tactical feed, and I believe they will be doing some tactical retreat, but not if Vex catches the Sivir on the backside. How tactical feed want to go for this. They get the engage on Sushi, but Sushi gets the engage onto your support. Teleport's coming out. Shyvana has the defensively ultimate. Nunu looking for a big ultimate, but gets rooted up. I don't think he wants to ult there. He has to. MF ult is pretty good though. Gets the Maokai. Billy Buckle and Red Face Beast are not hit, however. That's a double kill, maybe more. Aso on her. Dead Face Beast is going to have to just walk away from the Leona. Leona's just gonna kill him. Maybe.
Nope.
No, the feathers come back. Now the dragon and hard. Meanwhile, Ash is just a little too far. This is the second time Red Face Beast is farming it with no protection. Will got entirely caught out. Galio's just too late. And I'm not entirely sure the follow-up is there. Zenzo used everything. Here comes the top finally, but there's just no damage without the Ash. Here comes Zen, maybe looking for something. If you get the support, that's something. This is looking really funny. With the Malzard channeling, Holt doing no damage. Nautilus gotta sacrifice his life to try to get some CC on. Maybe shouldn't have done it because now Nunu's sacrificing his life as well. And they just could have walked away. But instead, they're all going in for a fight they can't win. Propane Pen finally bringing damage. Scramble is just dying. He finally gets the Nami maybe, but he's just dead. And I little feet just get it.
Game's on fire now. Tension in the air. Every player counts. Show 'em we care. Strategy in play. Eyes on the prize. From the bottom up, reach for the skies. Arbiter lead tonight. Everyone's fighting.
What's up, everybody? And we're here with week 4. It's Monday, so it's the Arbiter games, our Iron, Bronze, Silver, Gold League, and we got a really good matchup for the midpoint of the season here. We got Conduit March versus TDM Harmony, and I mean, we're seeing a little bit of a different. We don't have any plats on either of these teams, so it should be good. Like, I think the ranks are very evenly distributed this time around. So both teams look exciting. I mean, from what I'm seeing, I mean, I'm ready to go already. Like, these teams look fun.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the teams have been playing for a few weeks now. They've got to actually start paying attention and like figuring out what they're going to do for playoffs too. But they're kind of getting comfortable, knowing their teammates and stuff, and figuring out exactly what they want to do in the competitive scene.
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, when you get to the midpoint, you kind of already know like what your identity is, and if not, like when you're towards like the bottom of the standings, you're like, okay, what do we have to change? Because everything we're trying right now is not working. And it seems, but like if you're at the midpoint, there's always like room to improve. There's always room to change. I haven't particularly looked at where these teams are in the standings at the current moment, but I mean, definitely, if we're at the midpoint, like I said, like this might be the start of a win streak or a continuation on to playoffs, and all you want all the momentum you can get when you're going into that point in the season, especially in competitive. I mean, when I'm looking at these OP.GGs, when I'm looking at like Conduit in specific, I mean, I seen the bronze 3 top laner, and I was like, in Luna, I was like, yo, okay, first off, like your lowest ranked player, unfortunately, is in your solo lane, but it looks like they play like a lot of like Giga Chad champs, like I mean, we see the Jax, we see Yorick is like a champ that's like you can just be so oppressive if you know what you're doing, especially when it comes to like pushing towers. I mean, that Maiden can split push like while you're out an OPJ, like it's very if Luna knows what they're doing, I mean, gonna be like very hard to stop. So I'm
Well,
like, yeah,
if you look at the standings, actually, both of these teams seem to be undefeated. I'm just trying to verify TD Harmony because they said they're 4-0, and I'm not sure if that's because there was a miss week or not. But both teams have not received a single loss, and this is like
Oh,
including games.
that's
I'm pretty
awesome.
sure.
So like they're just
Yeah.
winning 2-0 every time, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I mean, without like when it comes down to it, I mean somebody's gonna have to lose today, you know. But like when I'm wondering how like whoever ends up losing game one, how they're bouncing back in game two. Because I mean, I've been a part of a lot of free game series, you know, where you lose game one, win game two, and vice versa. And it really depends on the mental will of your team to like kind of forget that loss that you whatever loss you had. I mean, game one, if you lose game one and you've been undefeated all season long, either A, you're gonna be like, okay, we're good enough, we're gonna win, that we can win game two and come back, like we're fine. And they adapt to it, or they're just like, we've never lost before. Like what's going on? Like, I mean, what are we supposed to do now? We've usually won all that before. So I'm wondering what kind of teams like obviously we're not gonna be in there with them, right? In their VCs and with their coaches, with their captains. But I'm wondering like what their like how game two is gonna be. That's the game I'm looking forward to. Obviously the start's fun. Like
Yeah.
you get
So
to hop into game one, but like game two is like always the most interesting for me. I mean,
yeah,
unless like it's
for sure.
crazy game two. But I really
Just
game
for some information, I think TD Harmony got the bye in the first week, so they've just played the last 2 weeks and they went 2-0 both times. And then
oh,
Conduit
okay.
Monarch have played all 3 weeks and have gone 2-0 all 3 weeks. I'm trying to get more
Okay.
information on which teams exactly they've played against, because there was an organization that has officially withdrawn from the league, and I think that doesn't count quite as a bias, but I believe there's games that they played for every game. So I think that
Okay.
they went against actual teams and beat them every time.
Hmm. Well, both impressive nonetheless. I mean, if you haven't lost, you haven't lost.
Yeah.
And that means something. When it comes to the champions, I mean, it looks like the mid laner plays like a lot of like a little bit of everything. I mean, we got 30 games of ASOL for Razors. I mean, ASOL is like one of those champs. It's like if the game goes long enough, ASOL is going to be a problem. I
Mm.
mean, no matter who's on the champion. I mean, that's no
Yeah.
disrespect to Razors. You know what I mean? Like it's just like you see it in the hands of pro players, you see it in the hands of Emeralds, like and down the line. Like you get to 35 minutes, ASO's gonna hurt regardless of who's hitting Q on their keyboard. So I mean, I'm wondering if we'll see the ASO. It might get banned, especially at 30 games. Like being at 67% win rate's pretty good. It means he's won like 20 games, exactly 20 games on that champ, or out of his last 30. So very impressive. And his jungler seems to play like carry junglers. If you have a mid laner that just doesn't need to do anything for 35 minutes and then gets strong, and then a carry jungler you can just feed the two, like you're set because you're both going to be equally as strong at 35 minutes, and hopefully your jungler carries you before you even have to get to that point. Because then once you get to 35, you're kind of relying on a soul like win.
Yeah.
On the
Um.
yeah, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just updating some more. So
Of course.
Conduit did get a win. I believe it was last week by comp ruling. So technically, I don't know if they played the games out. I
Uh huh.
believe it was just basically a bye.
Okay.
Essentially, let me see. I'm really struggling with reading the schedule.
No, you're
Sorry.
good. All
Week
good.
3. Oh, it was week 1 as well. Okay, so both teams essentially didn't play week 1, and then week 2 and week 3 they won.
Okay.
And it looks like they did play the games. Let me see if I can see the week 1. I guess I got rid of it from the resources I was looking at. Let's see, Conduit. But yeah, so basically, they're technically undefeated. I believe they played games and potentially lost, which does change their mentality a little bit. But still, both teams basically not coming into this without a single loss.
Yeah.
At least on the books. Yeah, it looks like
Looks
they
a
did
little
get
complicated.
2-0'd by Riftbusters, and then there was a comp ruling after that.
Ah, I see. That's fine. I mean, like on the books, a win's a win. I
Yeah,
mean, you take any wins you
there
can
is a
get,
reason there was a
especially
comp ruling,
there was a
for
reason,
example.
you know, and we're folks, we're all about the present here. You know, we're all
Hmm.
about the current game that we're gonna be casting. We're all about like I mean, the stats help, but like I have seen gold teams beat or emerald teams beat master teams, you know,
Hmm.
and like win confidently. I mean, some people just have a good day. Yeah, I mean, no big deal. But I think we're getting into draft. So kind of on the boost side with the first band Kog'Maw, we didn't get to talk about it a little bit, but Kitticus has been playing this Kog'Maw like quite a bit recently mean, definitely not one of his most played champs, but 7 games on a 3+ KDA, very very good. Another 80 carry band coming out as well. Vayne, I mean, can't be played top, not a big deal. These bands are rapid firing on the side of TD Harmon. They banned the Lux, the Twitch, two champions that, if utilized correctly, are do a lot of damage, and that you don't want them to get ahead. And very basic when it comes to their kits as well. I mean, Lux can be played sport, can be played mid, can be played APC if you want. Followed by the Silas band. Who likes playing against Silas? It'd be so real. Silas, very annoying champ. Lots
Right?
of CC, healing, AP damage. You can build him in a bunch of different ways. And if you want to play Malphite, you also ban Silas. So let's see. Maybe a Malphite pops up. Probably not, but you never know. And then Yone. I mean, probably the stronger of the Wind brothers, Yasuo and Yone right now. But
And it's
Yasuo
something
getting,
Razors is known for as well,
yeah.
winning the last split on it. But I'm
Mhm.
curious if Aethel will see the light of day before second bans or before mid is picked. But instead we see
Yeah.
Kaisa MF right now, pretty safe picks for the
Yeah.
first few picks. I mean
One
Kaisa really
100%.
strong, but
I mean, Kaisa, I would definitely take Kaisa over MF in terms of champions, but I think MF Amumu, very, very great pairing. I mean,
yep.
Amumu support is not very popular anymore, but Amumu MF is a very, very good duo just in general, with Amumu ult being an AoE and MF just being able to ult over top of it. So if they want to play a dive comp, very like an all-in comp, I think those two first two picks are very good. Kaisa Shyvana, Conduit starting out with just two this split like banger three my correction three banger this split picks in general. Leo being probably a top 3 support in the game, Kaisa being a top 580 carry, and Shyvana for a while until she just got nerfed recently was the best jungler in solo queue just because she does so much damage. And then TD Harmony following up with the Braum and a defense angle, but they still have that all in potential with his ultimate. We do see the York band coming in now. Like we talked about, no split pushing happening here, and Kale on the flip side now targeting the top laners. I mean, you always want the enemy top laner to be uncomfortable. I mean, top lane can either be the win con or the lose con of your game. Like if top lane is so pivotal right now, especially when you're not just playing tanks, when you're
Right. And
playing
also
those.
by picking the Kaisa Leona and then also the Shyvana, I feel like Conduit Monarch is basically saying top lane's gonna be on an island a little
Mhm.
bit, and also Shyvana is not gonna impact it that much anyways. So I
Yeah,
understand picking something like Kale, banning it, so that way you don't have to worry about that getting counterpicked and just being able to scale for free. Same thing with like Gwen, arguably as well.
yeah, I'm seeing the Malphite ban here. I mean, I don't see a lot of them playing it. I mean, the Malphite in the like maybe one game here. AP Malphite is a little annoying, so I could understand the ban there. But when Silas is already banned, Malphite's pretty good. I mean, but they don't like TD Harmony doesn't really have like an AD comp, really. I mean, with the Mumu at that moment, obviously they pick Aatrox now, so maybe like now the Malphite like band makes sense. But then we follow up the Gwen. I mean, Gwen and Kayle, just two hyper scaly top laners. I mean, they're like the ASOL where it's like 35 minutes, or if Kayle hits level 16, very annoying. And when you're picking Ornn, yeah, I wouldn't want to play against Kayle or Gwen either, to be
Yeah.
honest.
And I do
Um,
like the TD Harmonies keeping up the counter pick because they don't want Razors to get the other pick he's known for, which is Asol, as
mhm,
mentioned. And I think it's a little scary. Razors has done it before where he blind picks Asol. I'm not
yeah.
sure whether he's willing to do it here, especially with the Shyvana for the jungle.
I mean, either ASOL could be useful here. I mean, having double AP is kind of iffy, but it's like not a big
Okay,
deal. But
well,
it could be Kaisa or Smolder in the mid lane. I've seen both. Kaisa's
right. But it's
really
the
good
same
into
idea,
like,
right?
yeah, it is, but Kaisa's just generically like right now, she's really good into a lot of 80 mids that are being played, like the Lucians, the Ezreals, Tristana's, the Corkis. All of them can really be like damaged and like helped like contained by Kaisa because she has good roaming potential, good damage and difference in builds that she can build. But the Vex, good pick here. I
Mm,
mean, there's a lot of like dashes that are being used by this team on the side of Conduit, just like with Kaisa E, Smolder E, I believe as well. I mean, Orin
does
E,
Cassie E
Leo
count?
E.
I'm not even sure because I
It's
know
a
it's.
movement ability. I'm pretty sure it does. And doesn't
I don't
counter
know. I
Vex
don't play enough
passive.
against Kaisa, I guess. I'm usually
No,
the one playing
yeah,
Kaisa.
no, you're good. I mean, I believe it does. But Vex, none the same. Kaisa is an 80 carry. If Vex
Yep.
ultimate hits, it's gonna hurt. And
Mm-hmm.
you could probably one shot depending on how good. But the Vex, what Conduit wants to do with their comp, they want to go in. Vex says Vex hits W, and then they can't. It's the end of the play. So we'll have to see how well Vex uses her fear in this game. But TD Harmony's comp looks quite solid. I mean, in execution, it's very, very simple. Aatrox fights Ornn, you keep him. If Aatrox doesn't die to Ornn and Ornn doesn't get ahead, good, good, good. And then you have 4 really good ultimates that pair well together. I mean, a Mumu ult, Braum knock up into a Vex ult and Fear, and then MF just ults over top of it. But you also have Kaisa on the side of Conduit and Shyvana who can just dive into the back line with a Leo ultimate to stun this MF while she is ulting. So it's going to be like all the ults around are going to be very, very effective. It just depends on the timing of when they're doing it and who they're going on to.
Yeah.
So definitely an execution game. Let's see who can execute their comp more. I know I say that a lot, but it's so true.
So just to circle back on what we were talking about earlier, I'm just correcting myself again. Conduit Monarch actually got the bye last week as well, I believe, because this is week 4. Yeah, so I'm reading this correctly. I'm pretty sure. So that means week 1 they showed up, did get 2-0'd, but there's a comp ruling. Then week 2 they were on stream, and I feel like they went with a very similar strategy as they did this week,
Mhm.
where they showed scaling champions very early and just force the enemy team to show that they can actually deal with it. So far, no one has really been able to deal with it. I mean, at least the buy was it, but even on stream, whenever Conduit Monarch showed up, I might have to look at the screenshots just to make sure. But from my memory, they just showed up and said, "We're gonna play Asol. You have to answer us," and it just didn't happen. So this time they've brought something different, Smolder or Kaisa. We'll get confirmation on where that's going specifically soon.
Mhm.
And like try to punish this, and if you can't, then you won't be able to deal with it. Yeah, so last time it was the Yone and Ash Senna was what they brought, I remember. So they really
And
do like their scaling comps for sure.
And it is the
Uh
smolder in mid. I
yeah.
mean, makes more sense. I mean, Kaisa mid's not as prevalent anymore,
Mm,
but I think smolder is going to have a rough time early. I mean, smolder we know is a late game scaler, just like the Asol is. I mean, he is an AD carry. I mean, maybe he's just trying to try something new here, but Vex will be able to empower auto attack him every time he uses his fly ability just to get away. So we'll have to watch. I mean, Vex wants short trades and Smolder wants longer ones.
mm-hmm.
So we're have to see, like I said, with the Vex sphere. I mean, if she doesn't use it correctly and she just uses the shield to block damage instead of using it to fear, um, Smolder's gonna be able to abuse her, and you really don't want to give Smolder a lot of like abilities. I mean, that's self-explanatory with this passive.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Mid lane is always fun to watch when you see something unexpected being picked, like Smolder. But in terms of comp right now, I'm kind of leaning towards TD Harmony. I mean, I think their comp is just more filled out. And I think it's easier to execute. But I do think that if it gets later in the game, that the scaling on the side of Conduit is tough to match with the
Yeah.
Ornn upgrades. Shyvana hitting 1 to 2 items, she's very very strong and a lot of burst damage. She's going that like Shojin Leandri's build that I've been seeing. And
Yeah.
Smolder stacks Kaisa items can build anything she wants, and she's going to do a lot of damage. And Leo is
It
just Leo.
was last time that they were on stream, Billy did take Shyvana and just run with it and got a 17 kill game. And I
Yeah.
remember that specifically because it was like they're picking the Shyvana, it's got to be for a late game, and it just completely was able to run over the early game as well.
Mhm.
Either way, speaking of early game, we're gonna get into it after a quick break, and then we'll see exactly how the Dragons on that team do versus TD Harmony.
We will fall apart. That's the way it goes.
And we're back on the Rift, game one. I know. Let's calm down a little bit. We're excited. I mean, we're doing a little bit of 5 pointing, very basic stuff. I mean, I'm a little surprised with no invade with an Amumu Braum comp. I mean, very two really good level 1 champs. But
Apparently
weird to
Razors
see.
is surprised. He's just bullying, like as if no one is behind the Amumu. And it turns out no
Yeah,
one is, but wow,
yeah.
that was
Uh,
aggressive.
he's already taking his stacks. I mean, man,
True.
Man does exactly what he wants. I mean, he has one dragon practice, but it's worth it. That's all he wanted.
Well,
He's gonna
the way
practice
I
a little
see it, maybe you get one stack of Dragon practice, maybe Amumu levels up Q and there's a bunch of people behind him and you lose the game. But I guess that was worth it. So, you know what? Who am I to say?
Yeah, definitely not bad at all. I mean, Shyvana's sitting in mid, kind of trying to make it so that like nobody knows where she's gonna go. She can go either buff, it's fine.
Mhm.
I would expect her to go to the blue buff though. I think she's going to blue buff. Let's see.
Well, even we aren't allowed to know. Oh, it looks like
She's
actually towards
going
the
the
red
red
buff.
buff. Okay, she's playing towards top. All right, she's because like Shyvana, she really can't gank until level 6. Because she'll have her ultimate and her engage that kind of like knocks people up, does a lot of damage. So she really is probably just gonna try to perma farm, play towards the
You
grubs
know,
area first.
I don't hate it because what do you think Amumu starts, right? Unless he's doing a level 3 gank, which he might be, he probably starts top side because he's not that interested in top lane. He wants
Oh,
to gank bot lane level 3
he's
or level
also
4.
starting bot.
Right,
He's
right, but you
also
don't know that. You don't know
yeah.
that. So maybe you think Amumu starting
Fair.
top and you want to be cross map so you don't
Hmm.
have to worry about fighting for crab because mid's going to be hard prio, top's going to be hard prio. So I kind of like it, but it just doesn't work out because it turns out Toxin is also starting bot side.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Shyvana is feeling just fine. She just wants to have that damage when she's doing her camps and stuff. Um, I mean, Shyvana has to go AP though this game. Like, if they don't have, if she doesn't go AP, they have like basically no AP damage besides Kai'Su who goes hybrid. So I'm like, because I was looking at the teams and I'm like, wait a
Hmm.
sec, they have a lot of AD. I mean, Ornn does magic
Yep.
damage too, but
No,
like
no, he doesn't. Don't lie.
he
I
does
mean, like,
too. He does
yes, if
magic
you
damage.
look at his damage, yes, most of it is magic, but it's like 2 damage, so it doesn't really count.
I mean, I remember Camille Shields being purple, so that means he's a magic damage. He's a tank mage. It's fine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's. I'm not gonna play him mid or anything, but it's fine. But we should maybe see a possible fight at top scuttle if things go according to plan from the clear patterns. I mean, they're both inching towards top. Maybe they fight top a little bit, but it's like when you pick Ornn, you're really not looking to like fight this early, especially with Shyvana. So Shyvana is gonna try to get to like the scuttle first.
Yeah,
And
and Vivi is also doing well in getting lane control. I'm pretty sure the wave is going to be at the tower of Razors around the right time. So
that's
it's
a lot.
actually kind of hard for her ability to get this crab, especially if Razors is that low.
Yeah. No, yeah, Razor won't be able to touch that scuttle at all. Definitely not. I mean, he's gonna have the back soon. He's gonna try to get as many. He's like they're both pretty They're both pretty like low.
Yeah, and
So
I don't think Shyvana's there first.
we do see
But
Toxic here though, trying to catch this Ornn. I mean, Ornn's gonna get pulled. He uses Unstoppable to not get pulled back. Very, very good. But Shyvana said, "Hey, you're gonna go look at my Ornn, and I'm gonna take scuttle and possibly kill your mid laner."
ooh, just
Vex
enough
has
mana for that Q, which
just
is
enough
really
mana
good.
for the fear. Yeah. I mean, Shyvana might be able to double scuttle now, though, which is super, super huge. Especially
Yeah,
with
it felt
MF
like
and Braum
Toxin.
being pushed up.
It felt like Toxin was just a little bit too baited on ganking a tank that's just not gonna ever get CC'd. And while he's not looking, the crab is gone.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, if Shyvana gets both grabs, she's very, very happy. She's going to see if there's anything here, but she just.
Only thing she
Red
wants to do is
side
a
already.
recall.
Yeah, no,
Actually,
red
maybe
side.
a camp. It is up soon. She can do it pretty easily without items, but recall is also pretty good on tempo. Oh, wait, nope, she wants both. Decides to cancel the recall and does the
Drugs
camp.
are up.
Amumu skipping the camp though.
Yeah, he's
Looking
going to try
bot.
to get a lane gank here, possibly, but it's just like the timing. Like, he's just going to go grab his ground. He kind of wants to get a reset for this dragon. Both of them do. But he did get his book and a boot, so, I mean, he's ready to go. He's got his vision. I mean, about all he can do as a Mumu right now. Ornn, a little bit of trouble, but that wave is messed up, but Luna has to back. I mean, Luna really can't do much. She has TP, but or they have TP, but like, I mean, now you can't go for Dragon if you don't want to. Already down 20 CS to this Aatrox. I mean, Aatrox has got to be feeling pretty mighty fine without even having backed yet. I mean, gonna have a decently sized back for the Aatrox when it
Yeah,
comes.
and I said that Toxin got kind of baited by it, but if Luna cannot recover the lane because of that gank, You take a 8 CS gap in the jungle for that humongous gap in top lane where the wave's already also pushing towards Aatrox.
Yeah,
But
definitely. We
the
see both
bot lane might be
junglers
real.
down here. Cleanse coming out from the Kaisa, seeing if they can get more. Muumu's Q does land here. We want to be able to stun the Muumu away, but the Suns keep coming through from the side. Oh, can they go further? MF's damage is laying down here. Q bounce after Q bounce after Q bounce, but Kaisa is very low. So is Shyvana. But the first one to go down is the MF to the Leo. The first one going over to the side of Conduit here. Can they get more? Braum is the one to follow, and nobody dies on the side of Conduit. A double kill go to the Kaisa and 3 kills overall. A 3 for 0. I mean, they should be able to push this wave out and also be able to get Dragon. I mean, huge for Conduit. Great start. I mean, Leona obviously getting the first blood, but 2 going over to the Kaisa here. But can they get more? Ultimates being traded between the Vex and this Smolder here, but neither of them really get the finishing blow off with no fear on the Vex, and the Smolder ult isn't really going to do much right now. I mean, a lot of close calls, but I mean, Conduit just being able to scrape by in that team fight down in the bot lane. Really great start.
Oh yeah, and you don't like to see your Mumu commit more time to ganks and then get completely owned on his first gank. Now, top lane is going really well because, I mean, look at this level gap, level 5 to level 7, but I'm not sure if it's going to come to fruition for this fight because the Mumu's just alone.
Yeah, Mumu is crying back to his red buff here, but Shyvana is able to track him down, but the Smolder does get the gold for it. I mean, Smolder is like, thanks, I'll take extra stacks. I mean, he's a happy dragon right now. These dragons
Yeah.
are just playing nice with each other. Very, very simple, but Vex is here. I mean, she's going to try to see if she can push Shyvana off these grubs. I mean, doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Shyvana's going to just try to
really
keep
smite.
away,
That
but
means they get one. No, not quite.
Shyvana actually was able to take it. I mean, Braum's here to mess with the Smolder a little bit here. One more stack in the passive is able to stun under tower here. Vex being able to rain down a little bit of damage, but isn't really enough. Smolder not having
Okay.
TP is going to keep getting his back messed up,
So-
but he has to. He has to back.
So TD Harmony lost the fight bot lane. Oh, and they moved their Braum up. They didn't get any of the
Oh,
grubs.
we
And
do get the
now,
Q, and Kaisa has ult. She ults right into his MF, forcing her to flash here. Kaisa ult for the MF flash. I mean, definitely useful. I mean, with Kaisa and Leo and Bianna be able to like get on this MF, her already being a slow champion as it is when she's not in full strut. I mean, that Leona ult's gonna be a lot easier to hit now.
and Kirakas is just in full crisis mode, and you know, moving Atomic up. Like, I guess you could say that you don't need your bot lane support there because it's already horrible, but they didn't get anything for it. They lost all 3 grubs. Mumu, unfortunately, just lost to Billy, despite the advantage in the top lane on the top side. And now your bot lane's in crisis and your jungle's in crisis. And your only strength is maybe your mid lane, who might get a solo kill here.
I mean, Vex doesn't have fear yet. Smolder kind of trying to bait her out here. The flash does come through. The E and Q do not land. Vex ult does come through. She has flash to possibly get away, but Smolder and Shyvana ulting out here. Oh, the empowered Q doesn't land, but forcing Vex to flash. I mean, this Shyvana's on the prowl. Smite coming through, but the fear does land. Should be able to keep this Vex alive for now. But I applaud the Smolder just like being able to like confidently like, okay, I get hit by Vex ultimate. Yeah, you don't have fear. You're not doing anything really. Flashes back into tower, keep him safe, and then relies on his jungler to just follow up afterwards. And
Yeah, but
Shyvana's
TD Harmony just have to utilize this lead in top lane because everywhere else is just not coming to fruition for them. Like mid lane, Vex isn't horribly off or anything. Like they're even CS, almost got a lot of pressure off on Smolder there, made Shyvana spend some time. But now Shyvana's getting Dragon and you're getting blue buff. It's just not an ideal trade.
No, definitely
You
not.
just have to hope this top lane can do something because everywhere else on the map is not looking good for TD Harmony.
No, definitely not. But unfortunately, that with that, we keep talking about this Aatrox Ornn like lead. Ornn doesn't need CS to be up. To be honest, he's an XP champ. There's a reason why like these lane swaps were so strong, and a lot of the times Ornn was picked or Sion, because both of those top laners do not need CS. And Sion dies, he can get more CS. Ornn just needs XP to get to his passive. That's all he needs to be useful. He's a tank. He'll buy Heartsteel. He's gonna buy his Aegis, his Sunfire, and it's gonna be fine. He doesn't care. And
You
that's
would
why
hope that at least with this kind of lead, you could utilize something into the top lane, objectives, but they didn't. They lost all 3 grubs.
World Ender
if the
coming
solo
through
queue
too.
goes
See, we
off-
do see 2 Qs happen. Ornn ultimate, the Ornn Hard coming through here. It's gonna be just to keep him away, but scared the Aatrox up enough. Ultimate's being traded here by both top laners, and Amumu yet again has just been up here a little too late. I mean, it hasn't been able to get Aatrox that like lead-defining kill. I mean, he's up 40 CS, but it's like I just said, it's Ornn. Ornn is completely fine with you being up 40 CS. Luna's doing a really good job at just being that weak side island, like a lot of top laners dream to be. I mean, that play safe top, that's what they're doing right now. They're like, Aatrox, you really can't kill me. I'll be down 40 CS, and I'm going to be listening to some pretty chill music. And it doesn't matter, because you're mad that you can't kill me. Like,
I do want to draw attention to the fact that Brigade is up here. I mean, the objective is not up for another 20 seconds, but it looks like Monarch are willing to put a lot of resources into it. I'm not sure how the response is going to be, though, because Brigade has been up here the entire time. So there's got to be like some kind of cross map play, because the Mumu, as you can see, is not walking towards the top side. They're giving up the grubs. Now, can they dive this Kai'Sa, though? I'm not sure if it's possible. I feel like Bam is just too safe here unless he gets completely baited. He is looking for the all-in. Kadarkus is baiting it really well.
I mean, he still has cleanse here, but he's only looking for a trade, but the trade doesn't happen. He uses ult. He didn't use his cleanse, which I was surprised that he like just went out so far, because MF did bait him out, right? The ultimate was good. It's just like at that point, you want to stay under your tower as much as you can, because like you're trying to bait them into turn aggro. So maybe you just flash back to your tower and you kind of like, okay, I have ultimate, I have cleanse.
And that is kind of like where you like to do the cross map play, where you accept that their support is going to go up and there's no chance you can fight those grubs even with a really strong Aatrox, and you just overload the other side of the map. And that shutdown is really important, even if it's on the Amumu.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Kai'Sa, she's fine regardless. MF didn't get the kill. I mean, so it's still going to be the same thing in bot. I mean, like, they're still massively ahead. The team already up 2.5k gold right now, and they've gotten every objective up to this point. Like, Shyvana doesn't even want to play for grubs. She's a dragon champion. That's how she scales. But they have 6 grubs now. The Horn coming through, and the ultimate coming out from Shyvana as well, trying to see if they can force something out of this Aatrox, and they do. They force 2 major things to this Aatrox, which is his World Ender, his ultimate, and his flash. Both gone. Will not be here for the next objective, which is up in a little bit.
They're going for the redive, but the helper comes out.
The Kelvin comes out trying to keep this Aatrox safe. I mean, Amumu going in on the overstaying Shyvana here, but the Vex ultimate doesn't land here. Amumu's going to continue to go further, see if he can land the ultimate on both champions here. But he's going to see if he can try to track one of these down. The Braum ultimate tries to come through, but does not land. Amumu ultimate just settling on this Ornn and giving over Aatrox. Now he's going to try to see. Maybe this Aatrox can build this lead out, like we've been talking about. He has the kill now. He is now officially what this team needs as their win con until anything else further develops down the road.
Now, it was a good counterplay by TD Harmony, but it just felt like Vivi jumped the gun a little bit. If that ultimate had waited until the Amumu had flash ulted, or just ulted even, I mean, it would have been lights out for the entire side of Conduit Monarch. So, like, good macro plan, good idea. Just the execution was a little soft, and it doesn't honestly matter. Like, they still get the win on the side of the map. It's just they could have gotten a little bit more with a little bit better execution.
100%. I mean, they have negated the gold lead a little bit now. It was like a 3k gold lead, like at 5 minutes. But now we're seeing it's only 500k or half a thousand gold. Holy crap. But the dragon's up. See, name of the game, towers and objectives. If the thing is, if Conduit continue to get objectives, it's not gonna matter. Aatrox isn't gonna beat Smolder late game unless Smolder completely gets outplayed. I mean,
so what is interesting is that they've sent Smolder to bot lane to match MF, and that meant that I Am Atomic could roam for this entire time. Now, mid lane versus bot lane means that MF might not get as much CS, but she does get solo XP.
Fighting this Braum here. I mean, Braum does have his passive, but the ultimate coming out from Shyvana, she just does too much damage. I mean, Smolder
There's no
does try to
ult
follow,
as well.
but we do see the Aatrox CP coming in. Shyvana has overstayed, and she's just too far in. She tries to fight her way out, but MF does take her down. Aatrox is chasing this Leo and Smolder duo here. The ultimate does land from the Vex on the Leo, and Leo is going to be taken down by MF, giving her 2 kills to match this Kai'Sa. No jungler on the side of either team at the moment at this objective here. Can Smolder possibly steal it? Doesn't look like he's going to have the damage to do it, and Mumu does smite this dragon. And now that we're tied to dragons, and this lead is getting closer and closer to be gone. I mean,
yeah, and it's the nice part of the cross part of what you're saying before. It doesn't matter if Ornn gets CS, so it doesn't matter if you let him solo lane. Atomic eventually, puts up some kind of resistance so the tower doesn't fall. But, Ornn got some plates, or I don't even think plates at that point. It was too late. He got a few waves, but Aatrox is more than happy to get the dragon, and he still got that XP lead and CS lead.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, Warren's just trying to be effective in any way he can. And Aatrox is just up so much, he can do whatever he wants. Very, very good on the side of both teams. I mean, they realized that, like, I think Shyvana just went too far up by herself. She's very strong right now. No doubt about
But they
that.
still want to fight. And Mumu ult is up, so Toxin does have a bit of an advantage. Shyvana's ult's going to be up soon too as well. But I don't know. MF isn't here. Kai'Sa isn't here. But Kai'Sa is here. Smolder isn't here though. Does have teleport. It's just hard to say which team would win this fight. It looks like Toxin wants it though.
I mean, we'll have to see here. I mean, we do see the Braum slowly getting chunked out here, but the Aatrox using World Ender here. But Braum is the first to fall, and Mumu is second, and Leo is third. But who will find the next one? Vex ulting in onto this backline here, and everybody is exploding. But Smolder is here, and he is angry. He's going to get that kill onto the Vex. He said, "Don't touch my support." That wasn't very nice. And he was just bot, but we're going to let MF farm, and we're going to take this little Rift Herald, and we're going to crack open mid, hopefully. I mean, well done. Good TPs. I mean, a lot going on in that fight. Not going to lie.
The exhaust on XIL was so critical. I'm pretty sure he would have popped off right there. Up a level on every single member of Conduit Monarch, but the exhaust just makes him completely ineffective. He has to run for his life. And yeah, Smolder gets the teleport in, but Kadekrus just has to keep on hitting bot tower, which he will do, happily. But it is a bit unfortunate.
Does come out here. Vex trying to help MF finish this tower. I mean, they can't get first turn anymore since mid was the first to fall. But, I mean, MF likes the gold in their pocket. I mean, Vex ulting a little, teleporting down there a little bit is kind of troll. I mean, I understand they're trying to get some urgency in that bot lane, trying to get it shoving, make people react. But now you don't have TP for the next couple of minutes when objectives aren't up. Dragon's up in another 2.5 minutes. Maybe she probably could have walked up, but I understand what they're trying. But now for the next 2.5 minutes, you're just trying to. It's gonna be a vision fight, and somehow Red Side's gonna have to see if they can control this mid wave. With no tower now, I mean, Conduit has a lot more space to do what they want to do. I mean, they get to be inside the enemy jungles a little bit more. They also get to objectives faster. And they were already the better team at the beginning of the game. They were just so ready. They're always the first to get there. So what on the red side are you going to do to, like, combat that? Either you have to take mid tower or you have to get deep vision early. So we'll have to see what their strategy is going forward.
Yeah, and I'm also curious what, on the other side, Monarch answers Aatrox with. Ornn can only withstand the pressure for so long. Like, he could be an island, especially after level 11, but any kind of movement from Toxin or Vivi, and suddenly that top lane is under a lot of pressure, especially since it's still the outer tower for XIL to put pressure on. Looks like he's not willing to go past the river for right now, especially with everyone off the map for Conduit Monarch. But I just imagine that Luna Freya is going to be under a lot of pressure for the upcoming waves.
Oh, 100%. I mean, can't agree with you more. What I'm looking at is you see, TD Harmony has great vision in the river right now. They have 3 wards. I mean, we do see that Conduit has, like, a pink ward in Amumu's side, I believe. I don't know if he's covering it now or he's clearing it, but also in Tribrush. But, like, we have, like, Harmony has complete vision control in this river. And they're naive. Dragon hasn't been spawned yet. I haven't seen any vision control being competed with. So look to see if this vision plays as a good, important part in this fight. So, I mean, like, if you don't have vision, it's hard to get in.
Especially with the Amumu Vex MF, like, that, you face check the wrong bush, you're dead. Absolutely.
100%. I mean,
Smolder, speaking of which, is at 145 stacks. So, I mean, I'm not up to date totally with Smolder stacks. That feels pretty good. You know, I always like to say if it's before 26 minutes, it's usually good enough.
Ultimate missing from Vex. The gold post ultimate from Vex here missing, going through the uprights. I mean, definitely not what you want to see. I mean, Vex trying to blow up one of these champions right before the drag fight, make it a little unable for them to fight. Now you're down an ultimate.
Yeah, it feels like Harmony were not letting Monarch face check into them. They were getting too easy.
Ornn is ready to fight here. We do see Braum block the Ornn Horn from this Vex, but it doesn't matter. MF ultimate is raining down, but Conduit is the first to strike with 2 kills on the board. MF getting the trade onto this Ornn. Shyvana is down from the Vex, and Aatrox is on the run, but it won't be from anybody else because Leo is down for the count. We do see the Rift Herald pushing mid here, possibly trying to get a charge on there, but this dragon is solely under the control of TD Harmony.
I'm not sure if they're willing to do it. For some reason, I think they just wanted to answer the Herald and not risk a steal because they don't have Smite. So it looks like it's not complete disaster for Conduit Monarch, especially with the teleport coming out. But the re-engage is going to be really hard for both teams to figure out. I mean, Amumu has no ultimate. He's coming in now. The Hex Gate helps a lot. But I think there's going to be another 5v5.
Definitely, I think both teams are going to try to retry this dragon fight. I mean, but then again, look at the vision. Conduit had no vision in this blue set.
Right,
I
but
mean,
are TD Harmony going to force them to play around it? Last time they ran out of their vision-controlled areas trying to ult ahead of schedule, right? And Monarch just walked away. So will they force Monarch to face check this time? Looks like they are because they're starting the dragon.
they are starting the dragon. I mean, we do see the TP coming out. Aatrox trying to make sure he is the first in line with this Braum, trying to like isolate them from this dragon, make sure they can't touch it. But they're getting poked out here. Aatrox is the only one, and Braum is pushing him back with the shield. The Vex ultimate fear pushing this Shyvana away from the dragon, and Mumu has a safe spot to smite this dragon. Leo ultimate coming out here. Toxin is right in the middle. If he can ult, he would be perfect in slot, but he flashes over the wall. It still dies to this Kai'Sa. Can they get more? The Vex fear fearing them away, not allowing them to, but now they have their eyes set on this Baron. They can't do anything on the side of TD Harmony. They have no summoner. And all five
TD
are up.
Harmony was bluffing so hard because you thought as Monarch, oh my god, they're gonna Mumu ult me into MFO, but both are in cooldown. And as soon as they call the bluff after the dragon is down, they fight him and the Mumu's there and he's ready to press R. He's mashing it. It's just not working. And now they go to Baron. The ults will be up, but a Mumu isn't up yet. I don't know if Toxic can make it in time.
Yeah, and we only have Smolder only needs 50 more stacks, by the way, to get to Elder Drake. His ultimate coming through, trying to push everybody out. The Vex ultimate coming out just too late after the
Might not be too late, they're
The
fighting.
ultimates are falling down from MF and Vex, making them regret the decision to do Baron. Oh my, and 3 fall on the side of TD Harmony here. And I am ecstatic. I mean, that is exactly what you want from Baron. 2 do escape, but they paid a cost for going for that objective call. They paid the price for going for that Baron. I mean, the Baron was the right call, but you just didn't have the vision, and Vex and MF did a really good job just putting all their damage on everybody, not just on one singular.
I kind of feel for Conduit Monarch. I think they feel like they folded the winning hand, right? They had the aces. They were going to win the dragon fight. They just didn't fight it. And then Toxin dies, and they're like, oh my gosh, we could have won that fight so hard. Let's just go Baron. But the results of the Baron are different because you have to fight in the Baron pit. MF ult is now up when it wasn't before. Even without Toxin being alive, they lose so much for it that, you know, if they had made the winning play before, it would have been great. Now it's just an even play.
Yeah. I mean, you got two Barons is better than 0. It's like there's always the thing where it's like we have Baron and they don't, or we got the Baron so they didn't grab it. You know what I mean? And I obviously like both teams didn't have an like equal chance to get this Baron, but it's better to have it than not. And right now they got 2 people, so we'll have to see with only having 2 people, how are they going to index their push? And it looks like right now they're
good enough
putting it
here.
in. Yeah. I mean, 6 scrubs plus Baron is oppressive, especially when you're already in the lead. You're trying to build something here. So we do see it's like 1,000 gold out right now, a little bit over 1,200 probably. So we're going to see Ornn using this Baron to kind of just keep the towers alive, and you're putting the other one in mid.
I wanted to point out as well, Ornn is level 13, so he should have 2 teammates with special items, I believe. And this is a visual bug. He's the only one with the item right now. So he just hasn't had the time to get near the teammates to put out that whole reason why you pick Ornn. So watch that and see when it becomes an actual thing. It should happen before the next team fight, but if it doesn't, that's a huge amount of wasted stats.
Oh yeah, I mean, he'll get to it. I think he's just been so far like by himself. I mean, he probably recently just hit level 13. So he had to upgrade himself first. So next time he's around, for sure, he'll be upgrading somebody. Most likely looking at the Smolder or the Shyvana. I mean,
I might be wrong about the level. I can't remember with Ornn what level he gets his passive. Oh, it is level 13. I'm just totally misremembering something else. Sorry.
All good. Not a problem. Not a problem. I mean, it happens. It happens to everybody.
Either way, the clock is coming up where the Ornn ornaments will come out. I wanted them a little bit earlier than possible, but
Fine.
if
Smolder
Ornn gets another level before the next fight, that's a big deal.
Watch out now. Smolder is now the counter for Smolder stacks is 24 more to go, and then he 22. He's at 203 right now. The last time I checked, I mean, he's going to be every dragon fight now is going to just be that much harder once he hits dragon practice or like he masters it. It's going to be like no matter how much MF or Vexel damage they have, if you don't get Smolder, you're instantly picking the wrong person. I mean,
Now, look at Monarch trying to force TD Harmony to face check. There's not as much vision as there has been in previous attempts. I'm not sure if they know how to clear out the vision and get in, especially with these tempting portals. Looks like Billy and Brigade will give up for now, but it might be an idea they return to.
I mean, we don't. I'm just watching Orn items here. I mean, he has the Bramble for Aatrox and the cloak for Vex and Amumu damage, but he doesn't have a full second item yet. So
First
I'm just
upgrade going to Kaisa.
Kaisa. Okay, that makes sense. Kaisa's really strong. I mean, continuing to add to that AP damage, especially when he's upgrading that Nash
Oh,
juice. That means that Nash juice.
TD Harmony's just allowed to walk in, by the way. They did go through the bot wave, so it kind of makes sense. They're ignoring the mid wave for now. It looks like Monarch is not forcing them to answer that wave, but they are forcing a fight.
The Ornhard coming through here, the TP on the backside here, but the Smolder ultimate does come out, but there's just too much damage on the side of Conduit, and Mumu falls so quickly. He's in the middle. The ultimate does not come through. Kaisa getting a second. Smolder following up, killing that MF. The only damage left is this Vex, but Aatrox is continuing to go further with his wall downer, and Vex is resetting over everybody. The ultimate does not fall onto Kaisa. The fear getting cleansed by this Kaisa here. Both flashes falling out, and Kaisa able to get a quadra kill. I mean, apparently that upgrade was the perfect choice because that Kaisa just cleaned that fight up.
Now, they're not getting an objective for this, but it wasn't a really huge fight. Just slight mechanical issues for both sides. I mean, Toxin didn't even get his ult off because he was greeting to hopes that Kid Icarus could fit his ultimate on top of it. But unfortunately, Toxin dies before he gets his ult off. Kaisa is able to solo.
Yeah, it's Kaisa. She has 3 items. Kaisa is so strong right now. Very strong. We are seeing the Shyvana also buying a Grievous Wound for this Aatrox. I mean, that looked just so strong in that fight. When you see Aatrox Q2 come through in that fight, I was scared for that entire Conduit team. Like, I was like, if he hits that, you're done. We do see again though, Mumu not being able to capitalize on the positioning he was in because he's right in the middle of 4 people, and he doesn't ult. If Toxin ults there, it completely changes how that fight goes. A huge Mumu ulti changes the fight. That sets up your Vex ultimates. Even though there's those perfect blocks game, they're going to be in the range of 4 people instead of maybe 3. And MF ult as well. So
yeah, and it looks like Toxin was just waiting for Kiticus to get in range and just decides to hold it even through his death, maybe thinking that he could live through a bit of burst that he just couldn't. Maybe surprised by Razor's execute, honestly. Like, any number of reasons why you want to hold the ultimate for 1 more second and just can't get it off.
Yeah, no, definitely. So this next objective, Baron. I mean, this next Baron could be, if it goes to the side of Conduit, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to stop this Kaisa now and Smolder, who are just going to be able to poke you from range. I mean, MF and Vex do a lot of damage, but they're a little bit shorter range than I would say the 2 archers are. I mean, probably a safe bet. We do see a little more wards coming out of Conduit this time around. A couple pink wards, a couple wards in Try. Shyvana clearing the vision on the Baron. Make sure they can't see anything that they don't want them to.
Right. And I just don't know that Harmony can get the lane control that they had before. Ornn is going to be able to answer Aatrox a lot easier. Smolder is an actual threat now with his execute and stacks going up and up. I mean, right now, King VV is pushing past River, but not much further. Actually backing off the wave just in case, because they don't have the pressure to do Baron if multiple members of Monarch show up.
No, 100%. I mean, I'm just glad that this team is actually getting vision this time. I mean, when you're watching a team, right, and they don't have vision and they're just able to win fights like they've been able to do. I mean, they've been close fights nonetheless, but they're winning them. I mean, like, it irks me a little bit because I'm like, I wish it was that easy. They're making something hard look easy at the moment. But this time,
well, it's partially just TD Harmony not punishing the lack of vision as well. At least in that one fight where I saw where they came out of vision or out of the non-vision areas themselves and showed themselves, like, you know, showing up and saying boo before actually putting someone through the scary part. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
However,
This
if
Baron,
Toxin could get a good ult off, the next fight could look just so different from the last two. Because
yeah,
that combo is just what they drafted around.
yeah, they drafted. They want this. I mean, Atox is definitely the carry, but Amumu ult is the setup for all three of their damage dealers. I 100% agree. We just haven't been able to see a good Amumu ult go off. I mean, since probably early game, and even then, it was like you're catching 1 to 2 people. You hit 4 or 5. It's devastating. They win the Baron. Either team gets this Baron, and it's a 5-0. You could easily win the game off that if you're healthy enough. Um, we should be seeing a Baron fight very very soon. I feel like both teams are just trying to size up their opponent, be like trying to goat them into it. I mean, Amu's bot side right now. If they had vision of this, this would be a free Baron. But both junglers, they're like, okay, look, we're gonna clear camps. I think we're just gonna have gentlemen's agreement right now. There's gentlemen's handshaking camps at the moment, getting ready for the next drag that's up in a minute. I mean, we'll have
But
to
again,
see.
the further these fights or this game drags on, I mean, it's only a 1k gold lead, sure, but the Kaisa W's are hurting so much right now. She's gone Kraken Slayer into full AP, essentially. And then Shyvana, late game scaling champion, obviously. And then Smolder, everyone knows that that champion, the later it gets, the harder and the more pressure you are put under just by the Qs and the execute damage alone. So you can tell the TD Harmony is under a lot of pressure to try to end this game, despite not having a disadvantage on paper. Just a 1k gold lead that they probably think is about even.
Yeah, I mean, they on the side of Conduit, they have to believe that they're up so much right now. I mean, you look at a 10-2 Kaisa, like you have to feel so confident. I mean,
Oh, I don't know
reducing
if
the
Leona
lead
can get out of this. Has
has
the
past the
flash.
flash. Has the flash. Kaisa W does hit the Braum. They do trade a little bit of damage to the unstoppable coming out from Shyvana, and the Ornhorn soon to follow. Vex does get the fear with the MF just ulting over the blue buff, but it doesn't matter because Kaisa ults into this back line and is shredding everybody she can see. I mean, she has a triple. She's going for the quadra, but Smolder does finish off and steal a penta from the Kaisa. That's definitely not what you want, but they should. And Smolder tried to TP, and Orn said, "Oh no, it's the other way around." Orn tried to TP, and Smolder said no. I mean, they wanted
Okay,
this game
very
to
amusing
last.
points on that with the Quadra steal and the TP cancel, but either way, Conduit Monarch just are able to show why their team was considered the scaling comp. You get into a fight like that, even with MF ult going over pretty much everyone, still just instantly gets melted. Razors is doing a lot of damage, but not as much as Bam, who gets a quadra kill. Razors like, come on, I'm a carry too. Think about the stacks. Gets the 5th kill, and that's why they will be 1-0 up in the series. TP cancel was really funny. Like, it's not one of those things you want to bring up because it's like the game is over, but man. Yeah. Either way, great final fight. Is it just me that can't hear no, or can the stream also not hear no? Sorry.
Oh, why is my mic not muted? I don't know where my mic went. I was trying to move it. I must have bumped it. But I would have been upset at my teammate if they do that to me when I'm TPing. I'm using that summoner to end the game because for some reason, then we're not going to win the game. It's going to be all that teammate's fault. I'm going to be livid. But it didn't
Look,
happen.
Smolder
That's
just wanted more
good.
stacks, okay? Like,
Of
make the
course, of
game go
course.
on farther.
I mean, 2 impressive KDAs coming out of the marksman for sure. I mean, 4-1-13, 14-2-6 coming out of the Kaisa. I mean, Kaisa obviously having a lot of damage. We saw it in those last couple of fights, just how much that Warren upgrade mattered. I mean, it obviously paired with the power spikes that Kaisa was having with her items, with that Banshee's Veil, with the Zanya's components coming in. I mean, that Kaisa was unkillable. But she just did a really good job realizing who was strong, and it was that MF ulting over blue buff or ulting over walls. I mean, MF was always in a really good spot, but Kaisa found these angles that were just able to neutralize Kaisa. It's like, yeah, I know. I 100 to 0 you if I hit a W, by the way. Just letting you know. Just letting you know.
Also, I mean, bringing it back to the early part of the game, which feels like so long ago, it just feels like TD Harmony really have to reconsider their jungle, dynamic, right? You let them have Shyvana Ornn, and the only lead you had was top lane because of how Toxin just wasn't able to convert their early game pressure into anything. I mean, getting a lead top lane was good for Toxin, which was partially because of that early gank, but it cost him so much. And then, despite those heavy costs, he goes bot lane and loses a close 3v3. And maybe that's like, maybe one more play that just was right by any of the players, and it's suddenly a 3-0 in the opposite direction. It was a very close fight.
Mhm.
but you can't leave your Aatrox being the only advantage on the entire map and expect to win whenever you're against Shyvana. You really want to make Shyvana pay for being a late game jungler.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and they tried, I mean, getting that Aatrox ahead is a step, right? Like it's very good for them to have Aatrox ahead. You want your carry top laner to be a carry top laner. Unfortunately, Ornn really doesn't care. Luna just did a very good job of being like, I don't care, and didn't die for a while. I mean, congrats to the Ornn for doing Ornn things. I mean, you saw like he was down 40 CS, but then he would trade in lane and he would half Aatrox's HP with his empowered auto from his W, which is nuts. But both teams did a lot of good stuff. I mean, kind of like got lucky with the gold that they were doing. I mean, they realized that if Umumu's knocked up for 3 seconds and stunned, he can't ultimate. Great, we love that. But they never got vision for objectives until it was late game, and they were too strong to like really need it. You know what I mean? Like vision's always good, but like they were so strong, it didn't matter if they had vision or not. They were gonna win the fight. But when they weren't strong enough, seemed hesitant or they put their vision down too early or too late to like, you know what I mean? And that makes a difference, especially when you're playing against a team like TD Harmony that kind of just seems they're going to stick around. I mean, they
Yeah.
played the fights really well. I mean, they just got gold gap towards the end and they had the vision, like they were prepared. And if they come prepared and
Another
they get win an ultimate, it's over.
another concern for TD Harmony, I just want to point out because it's easy to look at that bot lane play and go, okay, you got 3-0'd early game, the game's over. But you also saw Razors for Life after a ban targeted him pick Smolder blind pick, and you just weren't able to punish it at all. And I think that's another concern you need to bring up in draft, even if it wasn't I mean, you change the fight bot lane, the game probably changes, but you still need to consider the issues mid lane as well.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. When you have counterpick, you want it to work out. I mean, Smolder is very hard to counterpick mid unless you have to win hard early game. You get to win so hard that that dragon is not going to be flying anytime soon, and that just didn't happen. I mean,
Or you
that
could do the opposite. You could literally put King Vivi on Asol and say, I could play this too, Razors.
well,
You're not the
even
only dragon.
that's one solution, yeah. But Smolder has that execute, and he's
Hmm.
an ADC. And it's like small. While ASOL does scale, yes, and there's some reasonability behind that, and that's a very funny pick to pick. I mean, if you beat him on his own champ, that's hilarious, and that's an ego booster. But Smolder ASOL is like, you want to side with the dragon every time. I mean, they're both dragons. I
You're
realize
right.
that now. But
Well, the
Smolder,
one with more dragons, because one of them has Shyvana as well, I
I would
suppose.
always pick that Smolder. I mean, if he wants to pick
Hmm.
that Smolder and he wants to play exactly that again, why not try to see if they have another counter pick for it? It looks like the sides are staying the same. I mean,
Hmm.
you could pick Smolder B1 and then be like, oh, yeah, also it's not going bot, by the way. And then pick an ADC later on in the round. I mean, definitely some leeway here. When you're the winning team, what Conduit is, they want to run back their entire draft.
Right.
If you can get all 5 of those picks, you do it. Because they couldn't beat the first time. And it worked exactly how you were. Your Smolder died once and your Kaisa was fed. You can't
At
ask
the
for
same
anything more.
time, I think just like a few decisions different by Toxin or maybe even Vivi, and that game looks entirely differently. If
100%.
Toxin doesn't give Shyvana same side jungle start or both crabs, or both scuttle crabs, and then maybe fights one of the objectives a little bit better, or obviously that bot lane play, and suddenly you kind of show why that comp looks so greedy with this blind smolder and the Ornn and the Shyvana and the Kaisa. I mean, it was very close to being a tipping point where Conduit never got into the game in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. But that's also how every game goes. You know what I mean? It's like when you win a game, you're basically like, "Hey, we did get lucky." And they're probably talking about that in the game. They're like, "Hey, we played really well, but there's things that like that shouldn't have happened." Right? Like
Hmm.
you're always watching a VOD and be like, "Is it because my enemy didn't do it correctly?" Like we're talking about, or did we just outplay them? And there was a lot of times I agree that like they didn't do the correct thing. They just kind of got lucky with it. But what's important is they were doing it together as one team. They were doing the bad decision or they're getting lucky together.
Yeah.
And so they're happy about that. I mean, draft is coming up. See, like if it changes, but I'm looking for them to try the same draft over and over. We're seeing the same bans, but the
Yep.
Kaisa on the side of TD Harmony getting banned. On the same side, Conduit has banned all three of the same champs. Lux Twitch saying the same, but the Kaisa is banned. It was
Ooh.
too oppressive, and a Mumu is being taken. It is
I
the side of
appreciate this. The
Conduit Monarch.
Shyvana did not pop off like it did 2 weeks ago for Billy.
I
Now,
mean,
I don't think Billy was necessarily playing poorly or anything, but it did make the comp just look a little shaky. Where Mumu does a lot of similar things to what last game happened, except now you have a Mumu instead of Shyvana. It makes it so much smoother. You know, the team fights are easier, the ganks are easier. You definitely win that 3-0 if it's a Mumu instead of Shyvana, whereas that time you got a little lucky. Yeah, I really like the Mumu pick.
I mean, whenever you can take a chance to take it out of the enemy team's hands, you'll do it. I mean, I'm a little sad to see the dragon not be brought back because I'm a Shyvana enjoyer. I mean, you don't see her very often, but I love the mummy too. I mean, you can't complain. Take it out of the hands when you're trying. The enemy team's trying to play a Misfortune, Vex, Braum, engage tank comp. Can't complain about that. We do see the MF being picked again with the Braum. They do like this duo. The duo is great. Braum slows, MF Q autos. Your health bar goes bye bye. Love it.
Yeah, and Kudaga's got a lot of good ultimates, even without Toxin landing the perfect Amumu ults. I don't think Amumu was a critical part of that, but Zeri picked is very interesting.
I do like the Zeri. It can be played mid and bot, which is important. I mean, this could be another mid archer picked at. I mean, if Smolder gets banned in this next two, which is quite possible, or we'll see the ASO ban, whatever that they're feeling like up to, Zeri can be placed mid, and it's not going to be a big deal because she's another scaling AD carry that can just do what she wants. Not no execute, but instead of an execute, she gets a butt ton of damage and move speed. Um, but the Sejuani, we're going kind of a little bit of the ice lads, you know. I mean, Braum, Sejuani, maybe we
Sejuani is just
see.
a Mumu with the skill shot. Let's be honest. I mean,
That's
that's how
fair.
I always figure it. They're very replaceable champions. They do the same similar things with like some slight variation, but I don't mind. Like they take your Mumu, you take a Mumu too. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Sejuani's good. They banned the Ornn here, making Luna. Oh, I stand. I spoke too soon. Maybe no. And
It is
they're
important to
like
note that Yona's up this time, where it was banned last time.
they do.
So two potential picks for Razors, but they would have to be blind because there's no way TD Harmony don't pick top lane here. I
Yeah.
would like the Aatrox pick again. I think that that was not an issue. You're kind of running back the same exact comp, which is a little scary whenever you lost. But
Hmm.
sometimes you can get away with it if you improve the things that you messed up on,
Yeah.
especially with the ban on Kaisa.
I mean, we do see the
I
Malphite and the
really
Ornn banned as
do
well.
not want them to leave Conduit the ability to counterpick mid. TD Harmony
Yeah.
need to pick top lane here, I believe, to do well in this series. It looks like they will give us what it is. Mordekaiser.
Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser's not bad. A weak side champ. I mean, can carry. They need that AP damage. I mean, we don't know what their mid lane is, and most of the time it's AD champs. But Mordekaiser able to just okay, I'm gonna EQ the wave and it's gone.
I also
So don't.
appreciate that Aatrox can do poorly into two hyper-fed carries like the Smolder and Kai'Sa were last time. This time, if there are two hyper-fed carries, maybe he just gets an R on one and deletes it. The other one can't help.
I
But
love the Shen
Shen.
pick. Shen is just it's Shen, Ornn. They're useful regardless. And that's what
Hmm.
I think they're trying to do with top lane. Like, hey, we're gonna throw you on these tanks. And I love that Luna's just like, yeah, I'm cool with it. We're good. I'm fine. Um, Shen is just gonna ult this area every game. Or if
Now,
we
which of
oh,
Razor's hyper carries is he willing to blind pick? That's the real question. Into Sejuani, you're already under a lot of pressure.
it probably
Ganking mid with Sejuani is really good.
I
So he
like the
doesn't even go
Ari.
with any of them. Just goes with RA, safe, consistent, classic, pretty good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're just Ari's just gonna try to keep her space from Mordekaiser right now. I mean, there's and try to find a way onto that misfortune from with her roams on R. But if you're mid, you're trying to keep Ari contained, either through farming and keeping the wave pushed, or you're trying to kill her.
Okay,
Fizz,
that's not what I was expecting from King Vivi. Just a completely different champion, not on my radar at all for being picked, especially into Shin Leona. But wow. Okay.
I mean, Fizz definitely against Ari one on one, not a bad choice, right? You can just E her charm, and then you're good, right? And you try to burst her. Problem is, Ari is a very highly mobile champ with her W, with her R, and especially when you're building Malignance, that R is going to be up permanently. I do like the Ari side of this matchup. It's usually the side of the matchup I play personally. I mean, Conduit just
Pretty
have
stream
kind of a
competitive.
better comp this time around.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, TD Harmony, I was gonna say before the fifth pick, they changed the small things that probably mattered. A movement to Sejuani's basically side grade, same champion. Bot lane's the same. I like the Aatrox into Mordekaiser, and they banned some of the champions they struggled with before. So like run it back with a few small improvements and play a little bit better, and you're gonna do well. And then they put in this, the Fizz, which I get. It's like they weren't against Smolder this time, so maybe they felt more comfortable with it. Or maybe King Vivi was just like, put me on Fizz. I'm tired of playing mages, even though Vex
yeah,
is kind of in that middle ground. But I don't know. I was really liking their draft, and then they pick Fizz. So we'll have to see if it works out for them.
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think Fizz is like it wasn't what I was expecting. I agree with what you were saying. I mean, he doesn't fit into the competitive too much because he doesn't have a lot of utility. I mean, Mordekaiser, okay, he's just gonna ult Zeri, maybe ult a Mumu to keep him out of the fight, ult Ari. You know what I mean? Whatever. Braum, protect MF. Sejuani, UCC, protect MF. Fizz is like trying to do what Ari does, but with no CC and
It also
less
has
movement.
another issue where like you can't play like you did on the Vex, where there was attempts at solo kills, but there wasn't really anything going on. The mid lead was about the same. The gold in the pockets of both mid laners were about the same. You do that on Fizz, and you're just a useless champion.
Yeah. No, it's like, I mean, definitely, we'll have to see. Maybe if Fizz gets fed, Fizz can kill anybody. But
Yes.
like I said, keyword is if. Fizz has to be fed to be useful. He's not useful in any other facet as right now. There's Fizz
And the other
enjoyers,
thing
I
is,
understand it, but
if you just stack armor on Conduit for the Shen and the Amumu, and then you get some way to cancel MF ult, and this is important, you have to cancel the MF ult or else your entire house of cards falls apart, then your stats are just going to be impossible for TD Harmony to deal with.
no, Zeri and Ari are going to be two hard carries to track down. They have a lot of CC to do it, but I'm liking Conduit's draft again this time around. I like TD Harmony's last time, and it was like it's very easily like draft to like do, and it still is. But Conduit, they showed us that once they get gold, they win, and they have champions that just don't need gold. I mean, the useful Ahari, Shen, Amumu, and Leo, and then you have Zeri, who you just funnel your gold to. And so we'll have to see. He played really good on the Kaisa. Zeri's one of those champs. To get fed,
Well,
it's
I
kind
think
of
there are two things that I really want to emphasize before we get into this game. It's looking at Toxin's early pathing, because Sejuani has a little bit more pressure on the top lane than he did last time. So if he does the exact same pathing, he has a chance of killing Shen where he really didn't with Ornn. And then the second thing is also just obviously mid lane, but how much more Mordekaiser can pop off with the gold lead than Aatrox could. It looked like it just wasn't there for the Aatrox despite that gold lead in team fights. Mordecai just doesn't usually have that problem. He is totally fine split pushing late game or team fighting late game into a lot of things that we're seeing here. So I think there's two major changes for TD Harmony that are positive, and then one change that's definitely a big question, which is this Fizz.
yeah. But we'll figure this out. I mean, we're gonna have to go to a little bit of a break. Give us a little time to cool down before this really intense game 2. Will Conduit take a 2-0, or will we have a brilliant game 2 come back into a game 3? But we'll go to a break and we'll see you guys very soon.
You were human, just like now. I can see you in the dark. Take my hand and bring me back.
Okay, game 2. But this time, we're 1-0.
Ooh,
It's not the same
spicy.
anymore. But we do see an invade here brewing from the side of TD Harmony. But will it bear any fruit is the question. I
I mean,
mean,
it
they're going.
has to, right? Last time, Razors for Life literally face checked and walked into the Amumu with Q leveled. Like,
Diana
surely
has no
this is gonna go
idea.
well.
Ward does pop through. The Braum Q does land here. They're probably going to force Leo's flash out, and I am correct. The Braum passive does land, but it's a little too late. I mean,
All
Leo
right.
flash, not a big deal, but she actually a little bit of a
Yeah.
bigger deal because she has no Hex flash. Amumu being able to get the the yellow trinket on his blue buff here. So at least we know where Sejuani might start inside of Conduit. They have a kind of an idea, but a big deal. Nobody died, but we got a flash and we got a ward down. That's all we need.
Even Leona Flash is not like that impactful. I don't think that Leona's like gonna flash in like Nautilus would per se exactly this early. I mean, it's good, but it's definitely not defensively a problem.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely not. But if you want, everybody wants their flash. I mean, if you gotta blow
sure.
your flash, you're a little upset about it. I'm surprised she didn't go Hex Flash though. You
Wait,
could
wait,
get a
wait.
lot of
What are the junglers doing? There's an Amumu on the wrong side of the map.
Umu is invading the Sejuani early. He's showing him, hey, this is mine regardless. It doesn't matter. Because he knows he's not on blue. He knows he's at that red buff right now.
That's so absurd. Gets away with it too. Now the follow up is kind of hard too because you are putting yourself in a weird position where your camps are gonna spawn later, and you kind of have this weird like I've done one quadrant a little bit, and I'm gonna be late to crab. But I mean, if you play around it well, you just did a great free 4 CS lead for yourself.
It's great because Sejuani also went up to Krugs first. I mean, because she has to. But she's gonna come down here and she's gonna be like, oh, my chickens are gone. Amumu just finished because he's gonna think Amumu finished blue for some reason.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't
And
know
then with
where
the
you think
chickens.
Amumu's even at this point. You can't imagine that Amumu walked past your laner right where you were and got the camp, but that's exactly what happened.
No, yeah. I mean, but both junglers, both are blue. I don't think Sejuani's gonna be able to even like do anything to Amumu on his red side. It won't matter. I mean, he has like the prio to get
Oh,
in.
that charm
Already
is so
being able to
huge.
land a charm. I mean, I guess if this didn't have Trickster up, I mean, not yet at least. This wave's in like an awkward state for Arya right now. She wants this to crash. I mean, it's pushing now, but
Okay,
like
the wave state's awkward, but you know what's awkward for King Vivi? The health bar. Like,
yeah, 100%.
that lean is so tough. You have Ignite into teleport too. You have no chance of solo killing now. You're worried about a Mumu because you know Mumu's on a weird path. I think XIL just found out what a Mumu was up to, but you don't know exactly where a Mumu is. Uh, I don't know who King Vivi. You're pushing out now because you have to, or even Razors could just push in because of the health advantage. It's so hard to play that lane now.
It looks like Sejuani is able to beat Amumu to the crab. Amumu is foregoing his red buff to fight for this crab. Sejuani's already made it there. It looks like it should be Sedge's. Amumu might try to like package over or Q bandage over, but it won't matter. Mordekaiser is burning down this Shen. I mean, I'm surprised she picked Shen. They picked Shen into this matchup here. Because I mean, Shen wants to go in and Mordekaiser's just like 2 auto Q and he has his passive up and running. So it's
Yeah,
a
it was
little
definitely a
unfortunate.
late game team fight pick rather than a lane pick, I
Oh,
feel. I mean,
100%. Yeah, yeah. But like,
definitely
so
an awkward matchup.
oh,
Oh,
100%. I love playing Mordekaiser and Deshen. It's so fun for me. But Mumu, he's like, you can have the Krug. I mean, you can have the Scuttle. No,
oh,
Sejuani going in here, but
oh,
Zeri's immediately
there's no
out.
flash here.
Leona doesn't have flash. Braum is able to stun down this Leona here, but Mumu is in onto this Braum. Maybe they can turn it here. Leona is the first to fall, but they trade supports. Can they get more? I mean, Zeri is untouched. Leona
I
or
swear we've
MF
seen
is
this
running
before.
away. Zeri
I
gets a
swear we've seen this
Sejuani.
before.
And can she get the MF? Is MF just too fast? And MF hitting the W. The flash
Wait,
on the Amumu
that
doesn't
might be
land
it for
here.
counter kill.
And that miscue off Amumu gives MF the kill. I mean, a 2 for 2. We've seen it before, but it didn't end the same. It's the sequel, not the first movie. I mean, well, a little unfortunate for the Amumu. He queued the minion instead of the MF. I mean,
Yeah.
both
Oh,
AD carries
wait, the
have 2
flash from
kills here.
Atomic. I don't see what Atomic sees though. Zeri could just EO. Maybe it's not up.
She gets close. She is
Oh, she
very.
must not be up, but it doesn't even matter.
She was just too far away. The wave's in a decent spot. I mean, on the side of TD, they could just. They don't need to push this wave out, but they're choosing to because they think Zeri's backed. I mean, but Zeri's still here. She's chilling. She's fine. But Leo is now here. She's healthy. MF is not. MF doesn't
Yeah.
want to be here too much longer. I mean, if you're Conduit, you're trying to keep this wave here as much as you can. I mean, MF has to walk up.
So
Wave
mid
state.
lane looked like it stabilized a little bit. No solo kill for King VV. Razors did not get a solo kill on King VV, luckily. But the CS gap is kind of big, and the wave state is really nice. Like even Toxin just coming in to
He
stabilize
does
the
let
bot
him
lane.
and the cleanse comes through, but Braum stops Zeri from moving any further here. I mean, Port's trading CC, but neither is coming to fruition here. Ahri ultimates trying to see if she can catch this bot lane off guard. The charm doesn't land on the Braum. She's only just basically clearing the minions at this point. But
Yeah, and Razors just used all of that tempo that he gained for himself and all that lead to just annoy MF. Now Billy has to spend time saving the wave for Razors. I mean, it's not the worst, but definitely not as strong as it looked from the initial 3 minutes for that mid lane matchup.
yeah, I mean, when you're up 13 to 20 CS, I mean, what Ahri was, she has like the urgency. She can do that. She's allowed to lose a little bit of farm to like make that roam. Unfortunately, she didn't get a kill off it because then it's just super worth. But I mean, Fizz just whipped an ultimate. It's completely fine. Ahri doesn't have ultimate here, but the charm doesn't land as Fizz dashes through
Lane's
Ahri.
catching
A little bit
Amumu
of
on the
damage.
dragon.
Amumu is about to die. He's a little caught out here. MF just got a free kill. Amumu tried to do the dragon while Sejuani was on grubs, and they just didn't allow it to happen here. I mean, and now they get dragon for free. I mean, Zeri and Leona are here, but they really can't do anything. So all they can try to do is push this wave in before TD Harmony realizes anything.
And you give Fizz an inch and he'll go a mile. Like the matchup looks so much harder now for Razors despite being up a level and that CS lead just because of the nature of the matchup. He has to back now with no teleport, and Fizz can definitely get this crash off. You have to imagine.
Yeah. I mean, Fizz is definitely in control of the lane right now. I mean, Ahri getting that Lost Chapter back plus boots. Looks like she's going cooldown boots instead of the Sorks, which is a little interesting. Maybe she's opting for more of a burn build. Leona going in on this MF who doesn't have cleanse or flash anymore. I mean, are they able to finish? The ignite does come through. Sejuani ultimate as well. The ignite does not kill MF. MF is 1 HP under tower. Sejuani's ultimate saved MF from total annihilation, and the shutdown is still intact. Mumu is up here on the top side with Mordekaiser pushing in. Could he look? No, he's looking to invade here, knowing Sejuani's on the bot side. I mean, should
And
be
it's
able
such
to.
a huge swing too for Bam, because that would have been 500 gold in his pocket, but instead he has to come back to a wave that was getting decimated by tower. However, Fizz,
Oh, using all of his CC onto this Fizz. The charm doesn't land onto Fizz, but Ahri should be able to clean up here using all 3 ultimate charges to get on top of Fizz. I mean, now she has the lead. She got her finishing blow, and Fizz doesn't have TP. He went for the aggro ignite this time around, so he has to walk back to lane. Ahri should be able to crash this in time and back. Kills going around everywhere except for where? Top lane yet again. There's 0 kills been happening, and Mordekaiser has permanently shoved Shen into the tower. Shen is completely okay with
totally
it.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
This does
Freya
mean
is
that Shen
fine.
can't use the ult aggressively to help his team, or Luna's not going to be able to find any moment where it's like, oh, I'm ulting and it'll be fine. My tower will survive for sure. So, the ult's going to be off cooldown for a while, but that ult will still be there for the late game.
Yeah. I mean, that's all it is there for. I mean, Zeri hasn't died yet. Ahri with a Shen ult on top and Ahri just ults in is just like the freest Shen taunt ever. So I'm a little excited to see how the late game fight setups are going to be, but we do see
I'm
Conduit
still
is
worried
down
about
half.
King Vivi.
Yeah, a little bit.
There was a strong point at some point, and then he tried to stop an invading Amumu, and the lane's over now. And once the lane's over, as Fizz, okay, maybe Fizz
Arm
can
does
do some crazy
land.
things.
Does the tower shot land as well? He doesn't have Trickster. He uses Trickster to dodge Leona E, but does Leona have ult? No, she just shoots the flash Q, and Amumu's bandage does land, and Ahri cleans up the kill. Another kill going over to this Ahri, who was already ahead. And now Fizz has to be a little upset. He's like, maybe I should have went TP. I mean, when you go Ignite, you have to be winning early, and he just hasn't been. Oh, Zeri going in on this MF here. MF getting the Q bounce. Zeri popping the ultimate here, forcing MF off, but now you just don't have ultimate. for this next team fight. For objectives up in 2 minutes, I mean, Zeri ultimate should be back up by then, but I mean,
There's a
there's
lot
no
of mid
way.
laners where you start out 0-2 and it can be okay depending on the state of the rest of the map. Fizz is not one of them. So
This is
yes,
no.
you have a 3-0 MF, but this Fizz is just going to be a liability unless something amazing can happen for King Vivi.
Leona is here. She's picked up. The charm does land on the Fizz here. He is the only damage carry, but the stuns are just coming through onto this Leona. Shen ultimate coming out. Leo ult as well, but that Shen ultimate is canceled as soon as Leo gets blown up. And the thing is, though, it didn't go over to Fizz. It went over to one of the tanks. And as Fizz, I'm going to be a little sad. I'm not going to lie.
Right,
A little
but
bit.
honestly, that play doesn't benefit the tank as much, but it benefits top lane. Because Shen had to ult out there to get it canceled and gets chunked and now has to
That Q does
Oh.
land. Oh, can Ari land a couple more? The W does fall. She does get another ultimate charge because of that. Sejuani ult is thrown, but Ari uses her last charge to dodge out. Can Amumu get away from all these tanks? A huge Amumu ulti ending on all three. The Mordekaiser ult is pulling the Amumu into the death roam. Can Ari seems to get Braum, but Braum is just too low. Mordekaiser's a little too strong with the Amumu stats now. I mean, Ari is treading on dangerous water here. She's trying to get this wave in, and it's like Mordekaiser is like, if I pull you, you're dead. Just
Yeah, it's kind of awkward because you were making King Vivi never want to play the game again, but the benefactor of all of this is still Mordekaiser. Getting the top lane push 2 plates off of that while Shen was just channeling ultimate, having to recall with his tail between his legs, and then Mordekaiser gets to teleport into the fight and get another kill, or get a kill for himself. Like, this is definitely dealt with, but you have to also deal with this Mordekaiser now.
it was. I mean, they definitely tried to do what they did. Oh, ultimate coming out here. They are going in on this Mordekaiser. He is a little bit chunked out, but he still has a shield to be used. The charm does fall on Sejuani. He has to flash. They're trying to get this Shen to go down, but he will not. He's just going forward. Toxin is 1 HP. The bandage doesn't land here. The flash charm does, though, onto this Fizz, into a taunt, into another bandage, and the bandage does take down Fizz. I mean,
Okay, but you shut down Fizz again. It's 200
Fizz
gold
is
at this
not-
point.
Fizz is not
Excel's
having
looking
fun.
to be a monster. Yeah,
This is
poor King
not
Vivi.
having fun at all. This guy is hating life. He is not liking the mid lane. And all while the scaling AD carry Zeri is just fighting MF. And MF has a little bit of mana. She's going to Q bounce. She's going to channel her ultimate. Ultimates are flying from Zeri as well. And the flash from MF says it all. That MF was scared. And now she's scared and dead. I mean,
Yeah, Kiticus did not play the matchup as you were supposed to. You have the shutdown available. You can let Bam push in the wave, but you cannot let Bam get on top of you because your ultimate channeling with someone in front of you does not work, especially with someone with a dash like Zeri.
no. Yeah, I mean, Zeri, MF, like, MF is a great team fighting AD carry. Don't get me wrong. She's not a 1v1 AD carry. Zeri is. And Zeri's good in team fights too. But you just, like, if Zeri and MF are just going to fight in bot lane, I'm going to take Zeri 100% of the time. Because she just has so much kiteability. I mean, you see how quickly she was able to just get around MF's ultimate, and then MF's like, oh no, I'm probably dead here. I
But
mean,
quietly, Harmony are picking up their second dragon here for free. Toxin's just, or Billy's just on the, sorry, Toxin was playing a movie last time. Billy is just on the other side farming up, which is not that favorable for a Mumu whenever you're just giving second dragon over to the other team. Now, Fizz, yes, absolutely going to be useless for the rest of the game, but you still gave over 2 dragons and this Mordekaiser is still a problem.
but we do see a Mumu coming up here. They're probably going to decide on the Rit throw, maybe. But Leona and Mumu say, hey, we're going to help our top
This would be
laner out
huge
first.
shutdown.
Zeri does use the cleanse, use the flash, but it's not going to be enough. MF getting that trade back onto that Zeri, you're getting that shutdown. All the CC being dumped onto Mordekaiser. The Leona ultimate does not land because Mordekaiser pulls a Mumu into the death roam. But then
but
they
he's
add
walking too
another
much
person into the
forward.
fight. Ari
He's
is
just
here. She
forgetting
uses the charm, and Shen gets the kill. Lunafer has like, look, finally my sacrifices has been paid for. I mean,
It felt
he's
like
not-
XIL thought that the Mordekaiser ult was gonna last forever because he
Oh,
watched
I mean-
forward trying to kill Mumu. Don't worry, I'll kill a Mumu, and then what happens after is for future me. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the kill on a Mumu, and future him did have a problem with the 4 people waiting for him.
Yep, and MF Braum on the other side say, okay, you guys can kill Mordekaiser. He's not that big a deal. I'm the 4-1 carry, and I'm going to take this tower. I mean, they've now taken first tower. I believe they didn't get it last game. It was close. But Fizz just completed first item, so did the Braum. And if you were completing the items same as, like, the support timer, never really a good sign that you're your beginning is going well. Ari almost being able to steal the red buff there. He's a little crazy. Sejuani's a little scared. Not a big deal. But
Yeah, I don't know if it has further implications for this game, but this definitely has further implications for King Vivi getting Fizz in draft again. I don't think that the draft is gonna be like. I don't think TD Harmony's like, all right, yeah, pick your Fizz again. At the
I
same
mean,
time, it's
if
still
Fizz can
sustainable
get
in this game
if Fizz
as long
can
as.
get onto Zeri, that's the
Mhm.
point. But Zeri needs to not be by walls and not have Leona or Amumu or Shen next to them. It's just Fizz is rough into this comp because of all the CC. Like he can Trickster one, but then after that, what you're really vulnerable if you're not completely kiting like perfectly. And unfortunately, just this game, a couple of mistakes kind of got him in the doghouse early.
But
But
Fizz can still sidelane against Shin, no problem. Meanwhile, I'm not sure that Ari can answer Mordekaiser as well. I mean, Razor's pretty ahead, so it's probably fine. So I don't know that it has greater implications for the rest of this game, other than the fact that, Fizz is not going to be doing what you wanted him to be doing.
I mean, TD Harmony, they recognize that this Ari's problem, trying to gank bot lane here, but Ari able to just use her W to get out. I mean, charm out. I mean, she's really Ari's like one of those ungankable like
Wait,
laners.
Razors,
We
it
do
actually
see the
making it look
ultimate being popped
possible.
here. The Shen ult coming through as well. Mumu using the ultimate to set this up, and Zeri says, "Hey, I'm gonna join the ultimate party as well." Both tanks fall, and Mordekaiser is here, forcing him to flash. Fizz ultimate coming out, not really doing a lot of damage to this Mumu with Merc treads. I mean, we're already seeing Ari trying to ping to go up the top wave here, trying to get this wave shoved in, and Mumu calling the Rift Herald to see if he can get this mid tower down. MF using the ult to clear the wave, but isn't going to be enough to clear the Rift Herald. They should be able to get a second charge here. Siege is coming. I mean, why is nobody getting the bug that I get is the question I'm asking. He's able to go straight into that tower. Every time I use Rift Herald, it does a little circle.
Yeah, but Razors was especially juicy there. Says, I'm an Ari with one ultimate. What's the worst that could happen? Draws in 2 members of TD Harmony, and the jaw of the trap collapses. Just
Yes.
completely CCing, locking the 2 people without damage, Sejuani, and I believe it was Braum, and just complete. Oh, wait, more fight.
They want to keep fighting. The Braun ultimate coming out, but the Fizz is taunted. Mordekaiser pulling this Zeri, I believe, into... Oh, no, pull the Mumu into the ultimate here, but the fight is still going on outside. Can Mordekaiser get the kill? But no, he can't yet, but the Mumu finally does fall. Zeri falling to this MF as well. Fizz getting the kill, his first kill onto this Leona, and Shen going down to the Mordekaiser as well. Ari's the last one left. The Charm falling, forced to use ultimate here just to make sure she doesn't get collapsed on. Possibly seeing if she can get some damage here to make sure she's here to protect the tower, using ultimate to go over the wall, and then flashing forces Fizz ultimate out as well. But this tower is going to be going down. I mean, kind of a weird fight to pick. I mean,
Yeah,
you guys were under a
it
tower
looked like
and
they
just
were-
went in. Braum is left alone
Braum-
here. Can Ari finish this Braum? It looks like she should be able to. Braum didn't back in time, but now Ari is going to see if she can possibly clean up another. There are 3 here, and she's just, it's not worth it for her.
Right, but the dragon's spawning now. They're teleporting in someone as well, just to make sure that they can get position on this. MF doesn't have ult, and now Billy does. He didn't last fight. So I don't think that TD Harmony are going to find a similar fight, and this should be the first dragon going over to Monarch.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely there first. They're a little bit stronger. Ari is still on the map. I mean, I see that Mordekaiser is just pulling in this Amumu to make sure he doesn't do like his group CC that has made Amumu so good this game and last. But I mean, you might want to start. I know that fight went well, but I feel like it was more of just Conduit not picking the right fight instead of them. Mordekaiser picking the right person to ult. He has to take out this Ari or this Zeri in these fights. I mean, they do so much damage. I mean,
Well, it is a bit unfortunate because you saw the fight go well for Conduit Monarch, they get mid tower. You saw the fight go well for Harmony, they get mid tower. Then the fight goes again well for Monarch, and they get Dragon. And just like the totality of the objectives are swinging in Monarch's favor for the last few minutes. Although the goal
is coming
the other
in
way.
onto this Ari, being able to get on top. Shen's gonna protect
Oh.
Ari here. Should be able to help with this Fizz. This Fizz should be gone, but he tricksters out and Qs to the minion just out of this Shen's range. Shen saving Ari, keeping that shutdown
Okay,
on the side
so
of
macro wise,
Conduit, but
good play. Get the Shen ult out, great. Player wise, man, you feel like finally I get the pick on Ari. I'm finally gonna get this 1v1, and then Shen ults immediately. It's just like, come on, man. I just want to play the game.
You see Mordekaiser here. Mumu is on his blue buff here, looking to probably coordinate with this Ari. possibly trying to keep Mordekaiser still. We do see the Q bandage landing on Mordekaiser. Amumu does have ultimate here. Is he trying to keep Mordekaiser here? Opts against it with the entire side of TD Harmony being here. I mean, Shen and Fizz trading. Shen does a deceptively amount of damage, especially with that Unending Despair, I believe he has. I mean, or Hollow Radiance, my bad. I got the two mixed up. But Hollow Radiance, yeah, Fizz is not doing damage to Shen. Shen is very tanky, especially against a burst mage like a burst assassin like Fizz.
Okay, but at the same time, if Fizz's job, I mean, he's doing his job foul for being 0-4, right? You get out the Shen ult, and then you make him come bot lane and match him okay. And now Mordekaiser just gets so much pressure because he doesn't even have to deal with the Shen ult or anything like that. For the start that King Vivi had, it's not gone bad for the last few minutes.
Yeah, no, he's definitely realizing he's like, look, I'm just trying to keep somebody busy or take the attention, get attention from somebody on the side of Conduit. But at the same time, you want to get kills on Fizz, and he just hasn't. He hasn't yet. But I like the what Conduit are doing. They're pushing up and they're getting vision here. Leona again being caught out here, forced to flash. The Brown Q does land, but Leona just out.
Those passives do not stack together. You have 3 Sejuani stacks, 1 Braum stack. Does not stun, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it does not. But Charm does come through on the Sejuani here. She does get chunked, and Mumu's Q does land away, and the ultimate landing onto MF here and Sejuani. Already popping ultimate, trying to catch one of these, and does end up catching Sejuani here. Braum is caught out. Can they get the shutdown onto Ari here? Fizz going in, able to get the shutdown onto Ari that he has been waiting for. And MF still in the back line, being able to finish off this Mumu. Zeri flashes forward here, trying to see if she can get a finish on one of these carries. And MF just does so much damage with that Essence Reaver BT combo. Was untouched for a majority of the fight.
To get a suicide stun on Bam with the Braum passive, suddenly Bam's just dead. I thought, oh, Kitticus is gonna die, but get the stun off on MF or on Zeri, and then it'll be fine. But instead, the burst damage from MF passive just kills him.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, when you hit that Fat Amumu ultimate, I mean, you're expecting to kill the MF there. MF instantly cleanses this Amumu ultimate. At that point, you just let her go. You take down the tanks, and it ended up just seeing that Conduit just didn't know who to go for. They were just like, let's fight everybody still. We can still do this. And while Ari and Zeri are fed, right, they don't do that much damage where they can do that yet. You're not that ahead. And actually, you're down gold right now. You're down 5,000 gold, even though you have 2 really fed carries. And right now,
this dragon fight is going to be interesting because I think the last 3 dragons just have gone down without a fight. The first 2, TD Harmony got that first really nice pick onto Billy, but I don't really count that as a fight. It was just Billy being incredibly greedy. Second one, they just had a really nice tempo. Third one, Razors for Life got a pick on Braum, who did not get the memo to escape. And then that dragon went down. So this will be the first real 5v5 dragon fight if they choose to go for it.
No, 100%. I mean, and that's the fight we're looking for. I mean, Conduit has been playing fights really well when it comes in terms of CC, but their target selection right now has been very tough. We do see a Mumu and Leona here, but no damage dealers on the side of Conduit here. I mean, to be able to follow up. I mean, Sejuani does have the Warmog, so it really doesn't matter to her that much. She'll be healthy and ready to go for this dragon. Like, that fight never happened, and look at her health bar. What did I tell you? I mean, the E following onto that Braum here, forced to use his shield already, thinking that something was going to be coming up. And kind of would take this time.
Does not have teleport, so he is running it down here. But he is right now just joining mid lane, and the dragon has already started.
Conduit's just trying to see if they can burst this dragon down. Shen's trying to keep them busy. The Braum ultimate coming out as well. Leona's already into the backline. Mordekaiser pulling a Mumu in, making sure that he isn't able to affect this fight in any way. And Mordekaiser takes down that sad mummy. The mummy is down. MF is close to being finished as well. Ari does get the finishing blow on her. Sejuani being close. But everybody else besides Ari is dead.
I'm so mad on Brigade's behalf. Oh my gosh, that's a perfect ultimate on Kitticus. Who has no cleanse. Kitticus is standing still in the sunlight for 3 seconds, and no one can touch him. He still gets off a perfect MF ult, because even after getting stunned by Leona, just absolutely rains down the damage, and that will be the Baron for TD Harmony, as well as Soul Point.
Yeah. I mean, when you have Braum and Sejuani, and then Mordekaiser goes, actually, you also don't have your jungler, by the way. He's gone. It's, who is going to get onto this MF? I mean, and because the damage dealers can't even follow up with all these tanks in the way that just do incredible amounts of CC. they're doing a really good job this game of protecting MF, which they weren't able to do last game because Shyvana was just so oppressive and
Mhm.
does damage of her own. Um, but we'll have to see. If Amumu doesn't keep getting picked up by Mordekaiser, fights are different. But Mordekaiser's just taking Amumu out and being like, "Yeah, good luck, guys. Good luck without your jungler. You actually don't get dragon, or you have no. You have like all of your half your CC is gone."
And it has to
Like,
be said, Conduit Monarch, with such a deficit in this game they didn't have last game, and they just don't have the inevitability. Shin is not Ornn, especially whenever Shin's down 3 levels. Ari is not Smolder, and Zeri, doesn't get impression, but it's still not Kaisa late game.
yeah. We'll have to see. The game is very winnable on both teams so far. Like, Arya is still very strong. Opting for the Shadow Flame because like Shadow Flame trying to see if she can snowball this game. Mumu realizing the Sejuani's in their jungle here, possibly trying to see if they can bait a fight, but then realizes the entire enemy team is here. Mordekaiser are ulting this at Mumu, beating down on Mumu, seeing if they can have
It's
a
a little
repeat of
early.
what
Mumu's
happened
gonna
in
ult
this
out of
dragon
this.
fight. But Amumu flashes and then ults both of them. Zeri following up with her ultimate. Mordekaiser is able to finish off this Mumu. Ari going in on this MF after she chooses to ult herself. A 1-for-1 trade, but can they get more? Mordekaiser is taunted and charmed. Zeri end up getting the shutdown. Braum using his ultimate onto the Shen, but doesn't knock up anybody else. And Leona is the last person. Braum is very close to dying here. The ignite does fall, but MF just popped this Leona. Both supports fall, and Fizz is just
But it's
pushing
just a
towers.
entire collapse of Eris for GD Harmony. Fizz wasn't there, isn't able to get there. The ultimate, the Amumu so early and so far away from a good location that Exile isn't able to kill Amumu, so Amumu can flash ult out of the Mordekaiser ult. MF ult without having any ability to really set up just does nothing, and they just lose the entire fight. However, they still get top inhib.
Yeah, Fizz got two. Yeah, I think he got 2 towers plus an inhib there, just from that fight. Incredible realization that he's like, okay, I'm not going to affect that fight that much. They're just going to keep leaving me alone. I'm going to make them realize that I'm still a champion. And he's 3-4-6. He does do damage, and he's about to build a Rabadons on his next back.
Yeah, he's caught up to Arya at this point.
Yeah, no, he's still a little bit behind. In terms of items, they're there. Ari's still a tad bit stronger. I think she's just like probably like a little less gold off. I'm assuming they're both on the same items thing though. But at least a fight went their way, kind of. But then you also just gave up like your entire top side for it.
And giving up top inhib before dragon spawns, which is soul by the way, in 90 seconds, is just so hard to deal with. Yes, Shen can ult, but that's not really what this fight is about. Having Shen match top lane and then ulting in might be a disaster if Exile can get a good start. But this is a fight that might. I'm just kidding. It's Fizz.
Yeah, but if Mumu hits his second bandage, both bandages from Mumu don't land. You really can't do anything if you miss 2 Qs. And it's probably a good thing they didn't chase Fizz because Braum and MF were waiting. They were waiting for that Mumu to go in.
And it just speaks to how far ahead TD or Harmony were after that Baron, to the fact that they could just play the fight kind of poorly, or at least have everything go really badly, and they still get top inhib and set up for the soul.
Yeah. The soul point is going to be huge. Pyro Drake, nobody's complaining about doing a little bit of damage, especially Fizz and MF. 2 burst champions having also flame empowered like attacks. Yeah, no, they're not going to complain about
looking
that.
for a teleport. I can't.
Mumu
quite
going
tell.
in on Sejuani here. Being able to do a little bit of burn damage is fine, but Sejuani is just going to continue to beat down on a Mumu. What? There's really not a lot of point. Shen and Mordekaiser are just stuck top, and Mordekaiser a little bit stronger than Shen. It's probably safe to say. Ari's here to back
Ari,
up.
who just used teleport. Razor's literally used teleport from Fountain to mid inhibit tower because of how that fight was looking between the junglers. And now you've had 2 solo lanes answering you. One doesn't have teleport. And Amuma's still going in as if Ari isn't a million miles away. Now, King Vivi also pretty far away, so I don't know exactly how this works out. But someone has to answer Exile, and I don't know if Razor's going to be able to do it alone. And
Chen looks like he should be able to 1v1 this Fizz. Like, close enough. The objective does get taken. They do now have fire, so the Amumu ult does come out here, forcing Braum to flash. Ari is stuck in the death room here from this Mordekaiser, and she is very, very close to dying. She does make it out, but does Shen ultimate save her in time? It does not.
There were just so many balls in the air for Monarch to juggle. There was the soul going down, top inhib already being down and bot inhib tower. Yes, they stopped Fizz from taking the inhib. Congratulations, but you lost Soul. You didn't get the pick on Atomic, and then your Mordekaiser, your Ari just dies to Mordekaiser.
Yeah, they're trying to do too many things. And like you honestly, sometimes you just give the dragon, right? I mean, it was 3v3. Amumu didn't hit the Q onto the AD carry. And then that's it. You just let them take that. That's fine. But then also
But
taking a fight after the dragon is taken, usually not the way to go.
it was
Unfortunately,
really beautiful of TD Harmony to ask 3 important questions at the same time, however. They saw that King VV got the top lane inhib because while they asked a pretty poor question mid lane and lost that fight, they get top inhib because King VV's just, still there. So this time they're like, well, what do you do whenever we have 3 pressing matters? And they just can't solve any of them adequately.
Mumu decided Grump was worth his life as he's gonna try to run away from Sejuani and Braum here. But usually that's not the case because Braum's gonna jump to the minions into a knockup by the Sejuani, and MF's here to clean it up. But Braum is gonna secure the kill as he should. I mean, this Fizz, we were clowning on it a little bit. He's doing what he's supposed to do. And a lot of mid laners don't know how to do this. It's just, okay, lose gracefully. He lost, and he's just like, okay, I'm going to play my game. I'm not going to die that much anymore. We're good. This guy hasn't died in 30 minutes or 20 minutes. Doing a really good job.
And Fizz with Soul, it doesn't matter how his early game went. Infernal Soul has a massive buff to him, especially whenever he has caught up as much as he has. Now Baron number 2 goes down for DD Harmony, and Inhibitor's already down. No real towers to speak of for Conduit Monarch. It's going to be really hard for them to deal with the split push, the team fights, like everything that TD Harmony throws their way.
Yeah, I mean, this Baron, I mean, you have 4 grubs and a Baron. I mean, you're going to be taking these towers super quick. I mean, it looks like they're just going to be able to have enough firepower to continue going to these towers.
They've got waves in every lane right now.
Yeah. And Mordekaiser's probably going to end up taking somebody here. They have every wave that they need. They should be able to fight. They're trying to go basically Conduit into a fight here. Mordekaiser does land the pull on the Shen. Shen tries to go to up this, and he's like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Oh, if Amumu
Looks
gets
like the fight's going to happen.
over.
Amumu does go flash in, hits 3, but no follow-up is happening, and Mordekaiser just takes him into the death room. And he's going to see if he can get anything out of this. This Amumu is slowly burning down while Leon is trying to CC this Sejuani. But Sejuani's able to just get out just fine with the Ignite falling on Braum as well. MF lays down a beautiful ultimate onto this Zeri-Leona combo. Fizz finishing off the Shen. And it is a complete ace, a 5-0 on the side of TD Harmony. And we're going to a game 3. I mean, really well done.
Teleport not getting canceled this time.
Just not getting canceled. They realized they didn't want to be that team. You know, they're a proper team that like respects their teammates a little bit when they're trying to TP. TP's a little respectable when it comes to TD Harmony. No shenanigans.
Regardless, it's important to say, like, Kidika's put on a really good showing there without even having the Amumu ult. Like, you saw a lot of Kidika's ultimates were set up by the Amumu ult in game 1. And game 2, he did more damage with less setup.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he did 30,000 more than anybody on his team. 12-2, can't scoff at that. I mean, you limited your deaths, and then you also just said, oh, I'm going to try to match this Zeri. And Zeri early game was ahead. And you're like, oh, when Zeri gets ahead, she's kind of oppressive. He was like, oh, yeah, but I'm just going to play behind my tanks. I'm going to trust my tanks to do their job. And all I got to do is hit R. Can I do that? Yes.
Yeah, and honestly, the remix for TD Harmony worked out really well. Change a few picks. Even the one pick that was the major change, which is the Fizz, didn't go their way. But the fact that they played the game slightly smarter and they changed the Aatrox to a Mordekaiser, I really think just gave them absolute control of that game from the beginning.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they know what they want to play. They want to play this dive comp. They like the MF. They like the Braum. And they're like, hey, we're just going to throw carry top and see what happens because we think our top laner is unfortunately better, right, for this other team. Because, like, some top laners, it's like some teams, they just want to, whenever they feel like they have an advantage, right, they're going to show it. And that's what they're doing top. They're just like, look, you can just play whatever you want, and we're going to trust you with it. And, I mean, and then on the other flip side, we're seeing tank tops against tank burners. Mordekaiser just did a
Mhm.
really great job, like, neutralizing whatever tank he felt was most important, and it did end up being a Mumu. Top lane just did a great job. I mean, we're giving flowers to ADC, but, like, that top lane made a difference. He did exactly what he was supposed to do with Mordekaiser Ultimate. Make it a 4v4 fight, but it didn't feel like a 4v4. It felt like 4v2 every fight because that Mumu
Now
was just gone.
Now, for Conduit, I do think that this kind of signals something important draft wise. First game, you chose a hypercarry mid lane with mid counter open. Nothing really happened. Your Razors was totally fine to be, pop off. This time, you went safe. You said Ari is the best champion to pick whenever they have counter pick. And they got counter pick, and Ari did great. Got a lot of gold early, completely shut down King Vivi with jungle pressure, and it didn't matter. So at the end of the day, why would you ever go back to that question and go, yeah, we're gonna go with the safe champion again? If Conduit Monarch pick blue side, which they have option now, I could see them blind picking one of Razor's hyper carries.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, if you can give your one of your players that plays a carry champ, his carry champ in a comfortable matchup, you're gonna do it. I mean, definitely agree. I mean, the Smolder was good. Scaling is great. Ari got ahead. You can see he's gotten ahead in every matchup, right? He knows how to generate a lead. Why not generate a lead on a champion that's going to carry the game and scale with it? So, I mean,
And if you
Smolder,
pick Acel again, or Acel or Smolder again, are you really thinking Kivivi's like, yeah, put me on Fizz again? I got it this time for sure.
I mean,
like,
yeah, King Phoebe might. I mean, Fizz into Aesol not bad if he can get ahead early. He unfortunately didn't against Ari, which is the problem. But like, if Aesol is ahead and we see that he just mid lane gets ahead a third game in a row, it's over. Um, I mean, we'll have to see. I think mid lane has definitely been like the most important like lane, like for the side of Conduit. I mean, they really index their mid lane very hard. I mean, their ADCs have been doing a lot of damage. I mean, the Kai'Sa was really good game one. The Zeri was also really good game two. He just unfortunately didn't roll her way. Um, we'll have to see. But I'm wondering what if top lane's going to change any, or are they just going to keep throwing around tank? I mean, tanks are great.
uh,
Shen is great. Ornn is great.
Look,
Maybe
I
Yorick
was
doesn't
talking
get
about
banned.
during the draft. I was talking about during the draft how Sejuani is basically a Mumu too. Shen is not Ornn too. Those
No.
champions do not play the same, especially whenever jungler Toxin seems to be putting pressure top lane all the time. I mean, obviously there was that play bot lane which just went better for Toxin this time, but you probably want to look at the tanks again and say Shen is not on the docket. We could probably look at some other tank other than Ornn if it gets banned again, but it needs to be something that can stay safe in lane.
Yeah, I mean, Shen did do a really good job. It's just like it's not Ornn scaling. And unfortunately, Mordekaiser just got that lead and didn't like go with it. I mean, Mordekaiser is just known for burning tanks. Aatrox, not so much. I mean, you got the counter pick into Aatrox, you picked the Ornn, you picked Shen into Mordekaiser and lost. So now you have to look
It
and be like, what beats Mordekaiser? And it's not tanks. It's somebody that beats him one on one in that death realm or out sustains him. Um,
well, I do have news for us. We are going to be on the same side for the third game in a row. Conduit Monarch want to pick blue side, which does mean Razors is not getting counterpick, almost certainly. I don't think TD Harmony would ever change that now.
yeah.
So it is that question of what is he willing to blind pick? The RA where again he got a lead and it didn't matter, or one of his hyper scales where he actually got the lead anyways because TD Harmony was not able to punish King VV's pick.
I mean, yeah, 100%. I mean, but you're trying to get that first pick. They want the priority of picking a champion they feel has been the most important pick in this game. Maybe they pick a Mumu again. I don't know why you would do that because it wasn't good for either team, to be honest. I mean, it didn't work out. Both teams who had it lost. So I don't know why you would do that. But maybe they're just going to pick Ornn game one. And they're going to be like, okay, we're just going to stick her on Ornn. We're going to call it good. That's fine. We're fine with him with Lunar just being like, yeah, we're done. We're gonna pick Ornn and we're gonna be comfortable with the rest of our draft regardless. That could work out. Maybe they just pick an ADC. Let's see. Maybe the Smolder comes back and it's in bot. I like the Smolder. I think Smolder would be a really good pick. I mean, scaling is always good. We'll have to see though. I mean, trying to draft is starting soon. I mean, they're close to starting. But Yeah, I mean, we're waiting on people to get in order here, but I mean, I'm excited. I like when draft shit switches up. I mean, game
It is
3.
important to note that this is week 4, and this is the first time either team has gone to game 3. So
Yeah.
definitely the first time that adaptations have had to go both directions. And I am excited to see where the teams decide to take those adaptations. I think that TD Harmony made some really good ones, minus the fizz. I'm gonna harp on that a little bit, but it worked out okay. But the adaptations that TD Harmony made were excellent. It definitely put them in a position to get that lead early and to hold on to it. But can Conduit Monarch show that they also have adaptations after a loss and can show that they will make this series difficult for TD Harmony to pick up on the comeback?
Yeah. No, definitely. I think game 3 is always like both teams have lost. They both realize like what has worked and what hasn't. I mean, and for the side of TD Harmony, it's that and Misfortune and that Braum. Those two are the only consistent champions that were picked. You try to keep that. That's what you want. If I'm inside Conduit, I kind of like the Kaisa and the Smolder. I mean, top Kaisa and the Ornn, maybe, I think, or Smolder and the Ornn. I think Ornn's a very, very good pick for them because it's one of those champions, or like, you don't have to do anything really that important. You hit the Ornn horn, you knock them up, you throw your Q, then you E into it. Then you're good. And you build Heartsteel and you do a bunch of damage. Ornn damage is crazy. But your mid and your top, you need a counter pick somewhere in there. And if it continues to be your top lane, you would think you want your top lane to not lose that hard as they did in game 2. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, looks like everybody's ready for draft. Draft should be starting in the next 5 seconds to 10 seconds.
Don't ever say that. It never starts
I
after you say
know.
something like that.
I'm just trying to see if I can
Look,
change the
draft will
luck.
start sometime in the next hour, okay? No,
Yeah, no,
it
that
should
no,
start
it's
relatively
longer.
soon.
It's nah, man. It's
It will start
wild.
relatively soon.
Somebody says R and I'm
Just
ready to go, and then the other person doesn't say R. I'm like, bro, come on, guys. See, we're good.
oh
Everybody's
man.
ready to go. Draft should be
You'd never know.
starting
Law
now.
draft could close. Okay, draft started. It
We
started, everyone. We made it. And
Vayne
the
Ben.
Bane
No.
ban.
Okay, no Cog. We don't see Cog yet. Kaisa is still
I
banned. Mordekaiser
I don't
out. Twitch out. Braum is gone. No Braum. We'll see a new sport in game 3 for the side of TD.
I'm still very happy if Kittikus gets MF. I don't think Conduit's gonna take it away from him.
They
Could be
could.
wrong,
They could. I mean,
but I on TD Harmony, like this last band is like, wow, we actually get the they do.
yep.
That is very unexpected.
And imagine they might just pick a Mumu game. Like they might just go MF a Mumu or MF Ornn. But TD now having to pick a new bot lane altogether. We do see the Leona being taken, possibly.
Leona did look like it did well into MF. Lane was okay, but there were definitely key moments where it felt like for at least Brigade's Leona, it shut down the MF ults pretty well. It just the rest of the team wasn't able to follow up. So I do like this counter pick, but it's important to note that Conduit Monarch banning Braum not only stops the MF Braum combo, but by taking it, Braum is a really good counter into MF as well.
Mhm.
So that is no longer on the table. So they have to take Leona.
Yeah, Leona. I would imagine they pair it with something that is engage heavy. I could see Jinx being good here. Jinx is fine. Caitlyn is fine. Um, They could also go maybe a Jin or a Smolder or an Ashe. Ashe is very good as well. Double CC. Ashe is also just strong into MF, being able to ult while MF is charging or channeling hers as well, just to negate that altogether. Not even having to use Leona ultimate. Very, very good. Plus cross map plays. Who doesn't love those? But now you would think they're going to probably take a support here. I mean, they could go an Alistar. They could go Thresh even works. Seraphine as well is a popular pick. I mean, MFE into Seraphine E is an instant route. And Seraphine scales. We love scaling. But what do they go with pick 3 here? They could probably do like a jungle. Or maybe they pick the Ornn here. Ornn is
I
not a
really
bad
like the
pick.
Ornn pick, honestly. Like getting counter pick has not mattered at all, and the fact that Ornn isn't banned yet, like let you have whatever you want in this Ornn. I'm Ornn and I'm happy, but instead
But
it's
we're choosing the
Jarvan.
J4. Okay. Now they have already basically shown their cards and what comp they're trying to build, and the other team goes, "Okay, we're just gonna pick Kale." All right. Um,
I like this a lot too. There are two different kinds of scaling. The Aatrox getting ahead early is one type of scaling. It just didn't quite work out in game one for DD Harmony. But Kale is another form of scaling that just would be so hard for Conduit Monarch to punish with their current comp if their top laner can not continue to even make that matchup seem palatable.
I mean, the Kale, once Kale hits level 16, she is a raid boss. And they have banned on the side of TD Harmony, they're just banning the two tanks that make it very hard to KO the raid boss, and which is that Malphite, which is being banned every single game, and Ornn. We do see possibly a Wukong jungle. No, it's just Sejuani. Probably.
Sejuani, Amumu,
Sejuani
same
worked.
stuff, pretty good.
Sejuani worked last game. Why won't it work this game? Two Freljord champs. Not a terrible pick with the Ashe and an auto attack champion in the
Okay,
top lane.
what is Razor's gonna pick though? This is blind. There's a lot of CC though, so I'm really not sure that he can pick a hyper carry.
This probably will be
But
their top lane here, just to make sure
right,
they're gonna give
right.
Razor some time to like figure it out.
I think we're just all wondering what is Razor's gonna pick. Like, yes, the top lane will be exciting. Oh, they picked a tank in the kill. Wow. But everyone's question is what is Razor's playing? Oh, it's
He's
answered
playing Yone.
immediately.
He's playing Yone. I mean, right now the only AP is that Seraphine, which is fine unless she goes like her enchanter build. Then you just don't have AP on your team. But I would assume maybe she goes a little bit of burn. But this top lane pick here. So I'm assuming Luna Freya is not playing Yone. But they can. I'm not saying they can't. But I'm assuming it's not top lane, it's a Razor's pick. And Rumble
Ooh.
top lane into the Kale. I would imagine
So
that's
I
not
like this matchup
terrible.
in general. Now with the first two games, I'm a little bit nervous about putting the Rumble to Kale whenever you've seen those matchups, but it's so different for both players. Kale is not Aatrox, Kale is not Mordekaiser, and Rumble is not Warner Shen. So just changing the dynamics that much can make it seem like two different players in the top lane. So I'm wondering if Luna can just pick it up and say that those two games are what it looks like when I'm on a tank, but you'll see what it's like when I'm on a Rumble or a carry like Rumble.
It is a little bit Kale sided. I mean, just with the scaling. I mean, a lot of games these days just go the
We'll get
distance.
confirmation on what that last pick is, because obviously it's last pick. Like ideally they
It
wouldn't
is
get
Lucian.
what I
So
is
it's
that a typo?
Lucian mid. No, it's Lucian mid. I mean, Lucian mid's been gaining a lot of priority lately. It's in that same realm with the Tristanas and the Corkis and the Ezreals. With that group of ADCs that has been brought into the mid lane, Lucian has just become the more prominent pick just because of his front end damage and the way he's able to abuse PTA.
Yeah, but you're picking Lucian whenever you've got the Kale. I get that it puts some early game pressure onto the Yone. I don't know. It's so interesting. I um, I talked about adaptations from the first game to the second game where TD Harmony like made a slight shift, angle shift to their comp, and it worked out great. This time, both teams have just gone completely different directions, partially because of bans, and partially just unforced. Like you picked Yone, I'm gonna pick Lucian. I hope
mhm.
it works out for him though.
No, yeah, definitely a good champ. Like, right, but Lucian into Yone. I mean, he's able to dash out of a lot of what Yone is trying to do, especially when Lucian gets his quick blades on item two. Um, Very
But
high
that's a good
damage
point.
champ. It's just like now you have
We'll get
three auto attack champions. So if like Jarvan goes Frozen Heart, which he can, he's Jarvan. He can build whatever he wants. Love that champ.
We'll get
Um,
confirmation, but one of the chatters brings up it could be Kale mid, Lucian top. Now that seems really ridiculous, but it is technically possible. No,
wouldn't
Kale
that-
is locked in top. It would have been really funny to see, but it looks like it's gonna. I mean, I guess we could make sure it's not Lucian 80 carry Ash mid,
but it's
but that
definitely
seems
Lucian mid. It's
unlikely.
Lucian mid.
Yeah, yeah.
But J4, we're seeing a little Udyr hover. I don't know what's going on there. So probably some meaning behind that. But J4, I mean, they have a pretty good bot and bot 3v3. I mean, Sejuani, Ashe, Leona, and then J4 with his level, like the level 6 for Conduit is very, very good. Sejuani, Ashe, Leona have a lot of CC, but if MF is untouched, she does so much damage, just very much damage, but they need to win early. Seraphine scaling is great, but none of it is going to beat Kale scaling. Kale was the ultimate scaler in this game, regardless. I mean, she just hits level 16 and her autos they do like quarter HP. It's ridiculous. Love champions like that, but surprised they got through. I mean, when you're trying to play tank tops, I mean, obviously Rumble was the pick this time around, but we'll have to see how quick this game goes, what the pacing is like. Because both games have gone a reasonably amount of time when it comes to game time with the 35-minute game last time. And it just didn't fare well when Conduit didn't have a scaling champ in the mid lane. So we'll
I'm
have to
also
see.
kind of curious how King Vivi can do in the Lucian versus Yone matchup just in general. It did not seem like King Vivi was able to get the edge on any other counter matchup, and this one is just such a dynamic where, you pick this counter matchup, you have to perform. I thought Fizz was like that before, but at least into Fizz into Ari, you can still do your job late game if you stay even. He didn't, but he made it work out okay.
Yeah.
Lucian and the Yone, it's just like an even tougher dynamic of that.
I mean, maybe he's betting on himself a little bit. I mean, Lucian does a lot of damage. If the comp works out, it doesn't matter. I mean, while King Vivi wasn't ahead early, he found a way to win. And that's what a lot of better mid laners just do, is losing gracefully and learning how to affect winning without winning lane. And that's what he did. He found a way to be
Okay,
effective on the Fizz.
that's nebulous and possible on Fizz. Arguably on Lucian, that's like not what the pick is for. It's my only counter argument. Like it
I
was
mean,
bad enough trying to do that on Fizz, and I guess he did make it work. But you're talking about Lucian.
yeah, Lucian's stronger than Fizz. Just in
True.
general. Lucian is a better champion than Fizz at the moment. AD mids are just better. He can just build plated steel caps, and Yone's like, what is that? Why are you doing this to me? And completely fine. But we're gonna see how the matchup goes. Maybe it's better than the Fizz. Maybe it's not. But we'll see. We're gonna go to a tiny little break before game 3. I know this series is intense. We're all excited. I get it. But we'll be back really soon. We're gonna head to break right now. Game 3. All right. Everybody loves a game 3. No shocker. Whoever wins this takes it all. We're seeing another invade from the red side here. Probably going to see if they can get something different this time. I mean, J4 doesn't see anybody. He has to know something's going to be happening, and MF's letting him know. But
Yeah,
no,
just get a word off.
get a little ward. They trade boards. Cool. Got it. I mean, top Rumble's looking to drop a ward on the red side right now. Pretty simple stuff. We
I'm
haven't
kind of
seen one
curious if
scrappy invade, though.
this is the first time junglers have had vision of each other, and last time Billy did something crazy that like didn't really come to fruition, where he just started Toxin's Raptors right next to him. But I'm curious if Toxin and Billy will end up on opposite sides this time for the first time this matchup, or at least some kind of different context, just from the vision alone.
Yeah. I mean, looks like they're both going to start pretty simple. They just cleared the red, so they know that J4 is starting red side. There's no way he's going to go blue. Unless he is. He's, well, no, he's
Nah,
just joking.
nah.
He's
That'd be
joking.
so late. J4 is so slow on camps early.
I mean,
He's just
it's
gonna do
fine.
the red with no leash.
He's going to do the red with no leash. It's not a big deal. Rumble's looking to see if maybe he can get a level 1 off. Doesn't look like Luna's gonna. Oh, nope. I stand corrected. Got the arcane comment off and left. I mean, sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes you gotta assert some dominance with the arcane comment. I'm Lucian already just like poking out Yone. Yone really can't do much right now with only Q. I mean, he can't really gap close. We'll have to wait until about level 3 to see if that matchup is gonna be good for the Yone. I mean, level
I'm
3,
also
he'll
kind
have.
of.
Oh,
We didn't touch much on it in drafts, but Jarvan's such a different champion for Billy. Wondering how he's gonna leverage the early game pressure in a way that he hasn't really had to on Shyvana or Mumu. Oh,
he
still
doesn't
okay
win
mid lane.
there. I mean, he's just trading out Lucian's autos for now. Lucian's able to proc PTA whenever he wants at the moment. I mean, definitely seeing what they can do on this Yone. He's kind of feeling it out. He's played 3 different champions in all 3 games. I mean, not ideal. But J4 is here trying to get Yon an early start here. Yon's trying to see maybe he can get his Qs off, forcing Lucian to flash. J4 for Lucian flash is definitely something you'll take. I mean, J4 already has
Absolutely.
flag and drag, so I mean, he's not really worried about anything.
And this
Um,
is the issue. Yeah, we got a slight pause, but this is the issue of picking something like Lucian. Whenever your other side is just Kale and Ash Leona, Jarvan's going to be focusing on you the entire time.
yeah.
Maybe top lane you could see a dive on Kale before 6, but there's definitely a beacon, especially now on Flashless Lucian. This is the lane that I need to affect, and I've got the champion to do it on Jarvan.
Yeah. But we'll have to see if that Jarvan is enough to get past the issues that were last game where it was like they couldn't get to the back line. Yon
He's using a
trading with
mana
his Lucian
here.
here. I mean, yeah, he's definitely early. Yon knowing that and being an energy champ, he's kind of able to move wherever he wants. I mean, unfortunately, Lucian doesn't really need mana. He's an auto attack champion. He needs it for his passive, but not to clear the wave. Rumble just going in. He's saying, I am level 4 Rumble, and you are level 4 Kale. Know your place. I mean, very, very simple. Yon trying to just get this wave to crash. I mean, it looks like it might. Don't get to see it though, but we're back to Rumble, and he is just burning Kale alive. He might be able to get a kill here. He's 2 autos away, forcing Kale to flash. I'm surprised we didn't see Rumble flash as well. Probably able to get something down here. Then we're
But
back to
Luna
bot
definitely
lane.
doing Luna definitely doing better top lane than the previous few games, playing the matchup that you're supposed to do this in, but doing it effectively for now, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Rumble definitely pushing this Kale like to the limits a little bit, but needs to realize like if they don't get the lead now, it's not gonna come later. Rumble is a very annoying champ. Be annoying. Be something that you weren't as the tanks, and definitely having a great start to the game. The root does land from Seraphine. Nothing to report though in terms of follow-up damage. I mean, no Enum Seraphine doesn't do much. And
And MF's just too busy farming at a tower, but they do get a really nice wave position where they're not really concerned about poke under tower. I don't think Jarvan's going to be that effective. Right now he's just playing the part of killing a ward. But, you know, he's done his job so far. Got Lucian Flash. As long as he gets another gank on Lucian before that flashes up, Billy is
Fortunately,
doing his job.
Sejuani is here on Rumble. Rumble has flash, so he's gonna have to dodge first. Sejuani's ultimate good
Oh,
on the knockup. They're should be able to get away. I mean, great flash out of Luna, but now your wave is and the wave's crashing, so it doesn't matter. Great job by Luna. I mean, able to just
maybe just
barely
a
get that
little
wave in.
over eager from Toxin. You know the flash is up, and you have all the tools. I understand the temptation to get that Q off, but if you're not confident that you can follow the flash, it's just really
MF
awkward.
is getting locked down here by the MF, but the shielding by Seraphine able to like negate all this early game damage. And while this 2v2s happen bot lane, J4 is taking a drag. He took the flag and drag literally and took the dragon with him. I mean, very, very good stuff. I mean, textbook, J4 wants to be go, go, go. And that's where he's been doing. He went mid, he went dragon, he's going chickens,
Kale's
and
level
Sejuani
6
is
here?
back.
Yeah, this is
So
really
is-
aggressive, but it might just work out.
It will because Rumble has no flash, stayed too long, and now he's stunned. He almost gets the Kale kill. Kale would have had to burn ultimate, but it was very close. Yon ultimate does land onto the Lucian, the knockup as well. And will the trade kill go through? Yes, it will. Yon's flash was not worth it. He flashed after he died. He was dead on the screen.
Yeah, and the way it's just such an awkward spot. It's a nice mechanical play, and it's got like that. Oh, picking. up
Leona
the
does
lead before
stop
the
the
recall.
Seraphine. Seraphine forced the flash here. I mean, not what you want. Barely close enough. Super close to the backing, just not close enough.
But what I was saying, like, Razors does get the mechanical outplay, gets the solo kill. That ultimate looked really close and is able to get it. But at the end of the day, it's just a 1-for-1 trade, and the wave is just fully against you. Now, it does mean that Billy can stop Toxin without any mid lane involvement for now. But now Leona's up here. Seraphine's not walking up. And I think Toxin is just going to get the... I mean, they're still fighting it? Kale is really slow here. So maybe they just get out once Kale runs towards it. It looks like that's what they're doing. But I don't think they're going to get him punished bot lane. Seraphine's still walking really slowly up here. So at the end of the day, it's just objective advantage for Harmony unless this fight goes against them.
Rumble does have ultimate here. He might be able to throw his equalizer down. Toxic is getting chunked out. The Sejuani is weak. The Q doesn't land from Yoni, but the Ashe ultimate does land onto J4. But Leona looks like the first to fall. Yoni comes back and hits a Q, and she falls. Kale is the next to fall. She was the late and still the second to die in that fight. Lucian's flash. Sejuani somehow lives that fight, even though she was the closest to being dying at the very beginning of the fight. Yon's looking for more here onto this red buff. Sees that Sejuani's looking for it. Sejuani can use. It doesn't have. It has smite up, but isn't able to get this red buff. Yon's stopping her for now, and it looks like that red buff is going to be claimed.
Well, despite
or
having
not.
a numbers advantage early and the tempo, arguably, it just goes completely against TD Harmony. They don't get a single thing out of that fight. They lose everything. I mean, they got one grab, I suppose.
Yeah.
But just a complete disaster.
No, I mean, definitely not what you're looking for, but nobody was there. They were out of position. Lucian was late. Lucian was there, but he wasn't in position. Leona gets picked. Like, Yon hits a really nice ultimate. I mean, forces Sejuani out. Now J4 is able to do what he wants, and J4 is going to be able to claim the miss-smited. Oh, nope, never mind. He early smited, and it's going over to Sejuani. Sejuani is now going to beat up this J4, possibly give it over to Yon, the Rumble here. But Sejuani doesn't have ultimate, but should be able to get the stun off. Trying to see if maybe he can delay for Kale to be here. The Kale breaks the shield onto this Rumble who has no flash. And now that J4 invade just turned into a 2-for-0.
That entire disaster can be summed up by a miss smite. Like, it was that close because Sejuani got 6 off of it. But meanwhile, bot lane.
Ultimate coming out onto the Ashe, and MF ult is quite to follow. Cleanses, flashes, barrier is next to go down, but Ashe is the first to fall. Leona continue to go in on MF. Will it be enough damage? But MF goes and just does enough damage with this MF Seraphine combo for Leona to be the fall before her W expired. I mean, well done. Leona going in. I love the aggressiveness out of this Leona Ashe. But MF's cleanse was so quick that the Ashe ultimate didn't matter. I mean, Ashe ulted MF and the Seraphine ulted both Leona and Ashe. Ashe has barrier, not cleanse. Wasn't expecting that. I mean,
No,
just the difference
these
in summoners.
these fights have looked close and even and trading across the way. And yes, you've got that kill inevitability, but I just want to point out that Razors is thriving in this mid lane. It's a matchup where Lucian has to bully the Yone early, and Yone is doing great. And I think that Razors will be able to push that advantage super hard unless Kale is able to get to 16 easily. And I
Leona
don't think
is
it's happening.
stuck here. Goes in onto this MF. Sejuani is here to back her up. MF is half HP. Can they save her in time? J4 is here. Boxes that Leona and Sejuani up. Leona is the first to fall on MF. MF has a double kill here. Can they catch up to this Ashe? The Ashe does have W and able to kite away. But will they go further? J4 is able to get the airborne with the flash flag and drag, followed by the Seraphine root. And MF picks up a third unofficial triple kill going down to this bot lane. And both teams, that anytime the MF has been on a team, she's just been able to do so much damage with that front end damage with their auto Q auto. She just does too much damage.
Unfortunate forcing a fight there whenever you're only people there, where Sejuani and Leona. Ashe was just so far away. And even though Ashe finally gets there, Jarvan makes him completely irrelevant. Meanwhile,
And
Top
Rumble
Lane's
getting the
kill.
solo kill on the Kale with the equalizer. It's just saying, hey, it's worth it. That ultimate and the arcane comet coming through probably did just enough for that Rumble to secure the kill on the Kale. And Luna honestly gotta feel good about that. You're like, hey, you were beating on me for 2 straight games. My turn.
And I'm starting to see a clear path of victory for T to Harmony. Their mid lane is even, which you can't have in this matchup. That's just not allowed. Your bot lane is in complete crisis because of how the jungle ganks went and how the 2v2 went. And top lane, Kale's supposed to do poorly early, and the 2 kills help, but I don't think that it's going to get there in time if the rest of your lanes are acting like this.
No, yeah, definitely. Conduit has been doing a really great job. TD Harmony's a little bit behind. But Conduit is just continuing to realize, okay, well, MF is strong now. MF does a lot of damage. We just, like, now she's going to be able to farm by herself for a bit. And now you see Seraphine on that first item is already back up to this next objective fight. They're just instantly realizing they have prio everywhere. I mean, Yone's like, I'll sacrifice a couple minions for grubs. I mean, Rumble is almost about to get another solo kill onto this Kale with the Leandries. So much bird. Kale has to reset with no TP. And Rumble's going to have, like, 5 grubs. It's going to be great. Rumble is going to be running this lane. I mean, there's nothing that TD Harmony can do about it right now. I mean, you're kind of praying and hoping that
on Razors here, especially with the pressure of the jungle and support. Bot lane looks just so hard to make any playthrough whenever Bam already has a completed item and boots versus, you know, the little tier 1 boots plus some knickknacks. And top lane is just one of those lanes where Kale asks you to please not talk to her until she's level 16. She's level 9 right now.
Yeah.
Bot lane actually, oh my god.
Oh, that Q bounce is insane up from MF. I mean, crit Q bounce. I mean, what can you say? I mean, I don't even think that crit. I think that's just flat damage with the BT. And now Seraphine's just going to push Leona off. Leona knows, yep, I can't even do anything. But Yone is here. Yone is looking to scrap. I mean, he's going to see if he can get a ultimate off. The ultimate does land on Ashe just enough. The barrier being forced out by the Ashe. Leona forced the ultimate to keep this Ashe alive. Just from one Yone ultimate. That Yone ultimate barely clipped Ashe, but it was just enough. We do see the scrap in the top lane here. Rumble's equalizer coming out. The Q auto is just enough to finish Kale right after ultimate. Ultimate's both being burned out, both top laners here. And Rumble comes out victorious.
Yeah, it's 14 minutes in. Objective bounties are here. And that's not what you want to hear whenever Razors is on Yone. This mid lane fight looks just so hard for King Vivi. Sure, it's even, I guess, but you're Lucian in his own.
Lucian damage. Lucian's holding his own. I mean, definitely when Yone is not your like win con right now, and you're down this much gold, or you're up that much gold, you gotta feel good because Yone will eventually come around. I mean, especially Razor's down. But Lucian's definitely holding his own with the small trades. I mean, but if you get clipped by ultimate, it's gonna be very, very hard. And unfortunately for TD Harmony, the Razor's ultimates have been, I haven't seen him miss yet.
Oh, this might be big though.
He'll flash auto
instant
2
solo
and
kill.
Dead. Yep.
Yeah,
But we
I
do see a
think
2v2 scrap here, maybe. Nope. And
I think Billy was just stuck between 2 lanes that desperately needed him. Top obviously wanted that tower. Mid really wanted to protect from the Sejuani gank, and Billy chose mid lane. Does protect Razors, but Luna stays there and gets solo killed by Kale, which is the one avenue back into the game that I didn't see before. Might be possible now.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine J4 is probably going to try to pay some attention to this top side. I mean, knows that Kale might be here, but it's a little too late. Her back just expires. But dragged up in a minute here. I mean, J4 needs to get back down bot side. It looks like he has empowered, maybe. Yeah, he has the empowered channel, so he should be able to get back in time. Building the Eclipse first, actually. He's going that lethality Jarvan build, possibly following it up with some healing. But I'm not messing around with J4's build any longer. Yon is messing up Lelouch in mid right now.
The Ash arrow just unfortunately doesn't hit. That's what I think KVV was trying to focus on. Get a trade, and then Ash arrow comes out of nowhere, wins the fight. But Ash arrow from the wrong angle. It's really hard to hit it at that angle. Doesn't go through.
Do you see the Leona ultimate doesn't hit on MF, and MF is now on the prowl? Can she get more? She just took Leona's HP from 100% to about 50% here. We just saw Leona got her Widow Star. She has her support item completed. I mean, who doesn't love that? I mean, who doesn't love a nice support item? Rumble is now burning this Kale alive. Will it force the Kale ultimate out? It won't. Q doesn't follow, but see, Conduit does finish off this first turn right before Dragon. It would imagine this is going to open that loophole, the timing for Dragon to be used.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Bam does try to take the Rift Arrow, but it immediately gets killed. They don't want to let a second charge happen, but now they're going to turn their attention to this third Dragon. And
not who I would have wanted riding that Rift Herald if I was Monarch. Doesn't end up mattering. I don't think they can lose this fight. It looks like TD Harvey wants to try though.
But it is 4v3 until Yon gets here. Yon crashed away first, but doesn't look like Lucian's going to be answering the door. Yon doesn't have ultimate up right now. They don't have like the big Wongo combo. Rumble made Kale back. Kale has TP, but Rumble's here first, and this Dragon's just Conduits. Conduit is able to just take this by themselves.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you give up the first two dragons pretty easily, but three dragons. Oh, I think
ultimate not landing, forcing the flash ultimate out of Lucian. I mean, well, good use of the ultimate. Now it just breaks up in mid. J4 is a little farther in. The Sejuani knockup does not land onto J4, so he's just able to get out scot-free. But very, very close to ending up into another scrap where Conduit finds himself a little overextended.
You expect to give up the first two dragons whenever you got Kale on your team, sometimes the third dragon, but giving up the third dragon at 17 minutes makes this game so much harder. Kale being level 16 before soul spawns is not a thing. She might not even get to level 15.
Yeah.
And giving up Ocean Soul is not, it's not the worst soul. You can still kind of outscale it, but it's definitely not on the victory path if you're looking to win this game for TD Harmony.
100%. I mean, you don't want to give Healing Drake to a team with an Enchanter like Seraphine, who's not building AP. She's building straight healing. So, I mean, they're just never going to die. You don't, and especially when, like, Grubs are better than Dragons, hands down, but if you're giving up 4 straight Dragons, never an optimal thing. We do see the all-in here from the Leona onto this Rumble. I mean, this just looks like a free kill for the Kale. They're trying to get this Kale to level 16. They're trying to ensure that happens.
And that is something that happens whenever you go from one side of a matchup to another. Luna has been the defensive. No one's going to send 3 members after Luna in the last 2 games, but this time, whenever you're Rumble and you're putting out all this pressure, you've got to remember that they will try to kill you.
Yeah, Sejuani thinks, hey, this is good for me. I mean, but MF is here, and MF kills everybody. I mean, there's nobody that wants to fight MF right now. We see the BF sword in a Caulfield's here from the MF. Second item, I forget what this is going to be. I mean, she can go MF can go anything she wants. In terms of thing, I mean, it could be a Shojin, but I'd be a little interested in why. But I'm pretty sure BT is just great. I'm wondering, like, what build paths is MF looking for here? I mean, she probably wants a little bit of tank shred, I would assume, later in the game with that Sejuani Leona. But more importantly, this Baron is up in 14 minutes, and Yon just uses ultimate onto Lucian to go in here, see if he can get a little bit of a trade, and he does get a little bit more than a little with that half a HP bar gone.
Okay, so this dragon is so big. Like honestly, if Toxic could just miracle go in suicide steal, that's enough to maybe make this game a conversation. But I don't see them winning a team fight, and I don't see Kale showing up for them before the soul goes down. So it's just really iffy to see. Like there's got to be some amazing setup, some amazing pick with Ash Arrow, Sejuani ult. I They cannot take a straight 5v5.
Yeah, the Essence Reaver being built from MF. That's what I assumed it was. I mean, Shojin's another option. It's just like off-brand. But yeah, I mean, they do need a couple things to go their way. I mean, it does feel a little bad right now, but they're only down a little under 3,000, like a 2,500 gold deficit. Not that terrible. I mean, it could be a lot worse, but they're getting their items completed. And Kale is on 2 items now, with opting for their Rylai's second, which is a little bit interesting, but I like it because it helps provide a little bit more CC to the team that already has a dangerous amount of it. Dragon is up in a minute. It looks like that's probably going to be our next fight. I would assume before this Baron expires. Whoever wins the Dragon is probably going to try for a Baron as well. But you need to kill MF. And if you don't kill MF, yeah, you're not going to win this
Razor's
fight.
also just quietly very strong as well. Like he hasn't gone
Yeah.
a solo kill in a while, but he will absolutely decimate someone if
Yeah.
he gets a free R off.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Yone is definitely dangerous with the Bork being able to shred these tanks a little bit. I mean, I like that 3 players on the side of Conduit all have plated steel caps. I mean, they all realize, oh yeah, they just want to auto us. We're not going to let that happen, actually. Sorry.
Setting up a
little bit
nice
of
little face check trap, but it's really early. I don't think Harmony are gonna face check that dangerously, especially with an Ashe. I mean, you can't. They're not thinking you're on Dragon, right? Like they can wait it out. It's fine.
yeah. Sejuani
Oh, but they're trying
ultimate
for a
does
pick, they
not
can't
land on
quite get
MF. It was very, very close. MF triggered disciplining her cleanse. Cleanse is not being used. J4 going in flag and drag ultimate into an MF, into a Seraphine, and these ultimates are being used to perfection. Yone is behind, into the back one. Rumble Equalizer coming out. MF is cleaning. Seraphine joins the party. MF gets a triple and gives a kill to the Yone and Seraphine to clean this up. That's a
Yeah,
tower.
once you miss onto the MF, you've got to run, and unfortunately, Kidicus just doesn't run fast enough. Had flash up, but still gets knocked up by J4. Once you're in the J4 ult, MF ult coming across, you're gonna lose.
I mean,
So-
it was a very, very close Sejuani ultimate. Very good try. It was maybe a half a pixel block away from hitting that MF. The inhib being taken here is a little interesting just because now you're giving them some gold when they're just going to be farming that anyways. I mean, obviously you're getting soul and they're going to try for Baron. I mean, you're strong. It should be fine if you keep your foot on the gas pedal. But I've seen it in times where if the game goes long enough, right, that you getting an early inhib isn't always the best move.
Okay, they're trying
you're-
Desperation Baron. I like this, like, at some level, because you're just not very likely to do anything if you don't go for something, but you're on a ward. So,
Yeah,
Rumble is
my-
here, a little
Rumble,
early, doesn't
everybody
matter.
is here. And the backs have been taken. Yone is on his second item here. They're trying to see if they can kill this J4, but that's not the person you want to see. They're going loading onto this Rumble, but MF is untouched, and her ultimate does fall into the flag and drag. J4 is isolating 2 of them while Kale doesn't do enough yet. They try to kill the J4, who is one of the tanks of this team. MF is untouched. The sun came too late. The damage was done, and Conduit is going to take this Baron in stride. And they're not the
There's
only ones
nothing
pushing the base.
sadder-
The minions are taking the towers as well.
There's nothing sadder than a pick comp trying to pick someone with Ocean Soul. It didn't even look close. They came off the Baron with a reduced MR. They tried to get a pick, but luckily Luna wasn't too far ahead. And once you're in the pit as the team that's behind against Ocean Soul, you're just not winning that fight ever.
No, I mean, just well done. I think the Baron was rushed. They trying to grab a desperation and try to see if they can get a lifeline. It didn't work. Yone gets touched by this Leona here, but the Seraphine ult follow with the Yone ult is just too much damage. Ashe tried to save it with the Ashe's arrow, but it just wasn't enough CC to negate all the damage that Conduit was doing with the double ultimate combo. J4 is just pushing in onto this Ashe and just seeing how much space he can take up, and MF is following up nicely with the Q auto. I mean, they're just going to take
they have auto prio in mid. They're able to just push in. The equalizer coming out, keeping this Sejuani up, but I think TD knows that their time is very coming up.
Ooh.
This a huge J4 ultimate keeping them close. I mean, and now they're being tracked down by the rest of Conduit Monarch, and this game is over. Game 2 was close, and you thought that we saw some signs of life coming out of TD, but it just wasn't. They didn't have enough for game 3, and Conduit just they bounced back. I mean, exactly what you want to do in a game 3. There's two types of teams, like I talked about before the series even started. When you lose a game, what kind of team are you? Are you the team that they don't understand what that just happened and they're trying to replicate and they're gonna they're not gonna adapt to this current situation? Or are you gonna lose and you're gonna change your ways and you're gonna realize we have to play better? And that's what Conduit did. They picked the MF, they banned the Braum. They're like, okay, you were comfortable on this bot lane, and that's what's been working for you. What now? And they had nothing else. The Braum was gone, the MF got picked, and the MF and Seraphine combo went 11 and 0 and 28. They didn't die. Conduit
Yeah,
just did
and
a
I
really
did
good job.
like how Billy, usually you see the driving go aggressive on a lane. He went aggressive on a dragon. That was a really early dragon for Team Conduit. And it meant that, Billy wasn't there to maybe help out the Yone as much early. Razor's was fine though. He did
Yeah,
not mind the matchup at all. Gets a solo kill on King Vivi before anything else happens. And that early dragon just meant that there was no chance for XIL to actually catch up in scaling. Ends the game at level 14, was only level 13 when the soul was taken, just because of how quickly the soul was taken.
I mean, yeah, I liked the top lane change. I think the no tanks. They're like, look, the Shen didn't work. The Ornn was fine, but it's banned now. We're gonna give you something a little different, but in the same way, Rumble plays very similar to a tank. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about how he just kind of goes in whenever he wants. I mean, he just goes, and you've seen it in multiple trades. He just burned this Kale down and forced Kale to back when she had no TP. And that's what opened up a lot of these objectives, was that Kale just wasn't there or she was late. And the Rumble was there and waiting, ready to go. And he had Equalizer ready. That changed the thing for me. Rumble ended up doing the top damage this game. The last 2 games, it was Bam, I'm pretty sure, had all of the I think Bam was the one that had top damage the first 2 games on the Zeri and the what did he play game 1? It was the not the Kaisa.
Kaisa.
So I mean, Burn does a little bit, but I'm really impressed with how Luna came back in game. I mean, I
Yeah,
think that was
absolutely.
yeah, I think that's the unknown savior. I think MF, obviously that pick was amazing, but if your top laner, you got to give your top laner flowers when they're winning. I mean, because usually if you don't in solo queue, you just but I think I'm gonna give Luna my MVP. I think top lane untiltable little thing when you're on after your game is done. That's what they get. But I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Conduit. I mean, they're probably top of the standings now with being probably the only undefeated team. I'm assuming. I mean, but TD Harmony no slouch either. I mean, they took a game 2 in stride after they lost game 1. Just didn't have enough in the tank. So you got to go back and look. Well, there's other undefeated teams, but just one less more with TD falling today. But
I do think that this sends a signal to the rest of Arbiter League that, Razor's had 3 games. Once he picked RA blind, and the other 2 he picked Hypercarries blind, and the Hypercarry games were just not close. He was not able to be shut down on Smolder despite the counter matchup. He was definitely not able to be shut down despite the Yona Dilution matchup. Other teams need to be wary that you can't just pick red side and hope that Razors won't pick his hypercarries. You actively need to have a plan for this. And your plan can't just be banning one of the hypercarries either, because he's done it on Smolder, he's done it on Yona, and he's done it on Acel now.
oh, yeah, he played really well on his comfort stuff, and I mean, like when you have scaling stuff and you're not punishing it, he did well. I mean, it's easy to be a jungler when your mid lane is just stable. I mean, I think any jungler would be like, I just want my solo lanes to be winning. Honestly, you can ask any jungler that I've played with or any jungler at all. If your mid lane just doesn't do anything and just sits there and it's 1v1 the entire game and nothing's happening, he only has to worry about 2 lanes. It was so easy for J4. He ganked once, maybe early, blew a
Yeah, I got the
flash,
flash early.
and that was it. That's all we saw. And that's completely okay because he just used his ultimates on MF ultimates, and it was perfect. That's all you need to do. So well done. Great game. I'm impressed with both teams. I'm looking forward to seeing what they got down the road. I mean, I'm wondering if much longer Conduit is going to continue this undefeated streak. I mean, they lost one of the series today, so they're not technically undefeated anymore. But in terms of series, they haven't lost, and that's the important thing.
Well, we will see pretty soon. Let me double check. This is week 4. They will be playing against the undefeated team. I'm just looking at take it a second. JR. Okay, that's kind of funny. They will be playing against the undefeated team on 8/26. We haven't chosen a stream yet for that, but that'll be week 7. So that will be very exciting. Yeah, that'll be actually the last week of Arbiter, so it will decide the final standings as well. But for them, they've got a pretty nice road forward. I believe they get a bye next week. I could be wrong. I know they get a bye week 6. So they've got a really nice schedule forward. Like they should be very happy with their placement in Sector 2. I can not imagine a world where they don't make it to the playoffs with how our setup is just because of the remaining weeks. I believe even if they lost every remaining week that they have to play, they would still at least have a tiebreaker. I have to do the math, sorry, but I think Conduit's in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll see how they do down the road. I mean, I think that's about all we can say as casters. I mean, we could talk for hours, obviously. But I think that's it. I think we
Mhm.
cast the game. We talked about the future, and then we're just waiting. And waiting for tomorrow. You know, we're back. We're back again tomorrow. I don't know who's casting that, but it'll be exciting nonetheless. So, I mean, unless Scarlett's got anything else to say, I think we're good.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for joining us for another day of LXC. Excited to be in the mid-season part and definitely getting some teams to look out for playoffs.